The double crippler. Making history. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to Vail, Colorado, day 2 of the 2020 Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships. I am Louis Vito alongside Tom T-Bird Monterosso, and this is the men's halfpipe semifinals. And as you can see, the modified halfpipe. And we have so much action, we don't want to waste any time. We're going to go right to the top to our first rider, Flynn Bullock Womble, who is our Junior Jam champion. So you win the Junior Jam, and you get a chance to prove yourself on the big stage.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this kid right here is 15 years old. No, we did not misspeak. He's 15 from Orlando, Florida. He was the winner of the Junior Jam here at the US Open. The winner of that event gets an automatic qualification into the semifinals. So you are looking at the future of American halfpipe competitive snowboarding. Now, as Louis said earlier, this is a modified pipe. Louis, what are we looking at there? I saw those 2 tombstones.
We got a mini pipe 13 feet high with those tombstones so riders can tap it, hand plant it, or not even hit it. And then you have an exit to the jump landing and then into the traditional 22-foot halfpipe, as you see Flynn with the front side 9 into the backside 7, coming in switch stance backwards into the switch method. Now again, this kid is 15 years old. He competed in the Junior Jam, which is a bunch of the world's best rookies, all around the same age. But now he is here in the semifinals competing with the world's best.
Yeah, can you imagine that, being 15 years old, dropping in alongside riders like Scherrer, Scotty James, Yuto Totsuka, Pat Burgener, some of the world's best. So we check out the replay here from young Finn. Nose bonking that tombstone right there, and then transferring into that 22-foot super pipe. This pipe, Louis, is an homage to what the US Open started out as and what it currently is. It's a perfect blend of both half pipes.
You know, I love it. It's just feeding off of the energy all week during practice, and it's just great to see the young rookie here, because he's someone who probably never even really rode a 13-foot halfpipe like some of the veterans. You know, you grow up in these small halfpipes and then you work your way up to a 22, but now it's thrown out. You hear, hey, you never rode a 13-foot halfpipe, which a lot of these riders started in, so try to learn this with these really tight trannies.
Yeah, when you're 15 years old and the size of Finn Bullock Womble, 13 might feel like a 22, and a 22 might feel like a 40.
I know, it's crazy to think about, but let's look at the weather, because we have some great weather here today.
This is what it's all about. The sun is out. It is very, very little wind, 34 degrees Fahrenheit. 12-mile-an-hour winds. Feels pretty minimal out there, because that actually is the #1 threat in a halfpipe contest. When you're flying through the air, you do not want those winds to be high. Partly cloudy, packed powder. I just watched the women's event. You and Tina did an amazing job calling it, and it looks like the pipe is running really fast.
Yeah, the pipe is great. It's holding up very well, because there's been a lot of runs through it so far. And you know, this is not a traditional halfpipe. It's a modified halfpipe. So let's get some visuals so the viewers can see what we're working with here.
Yeah, the opening section here, you see those 2 tombstones on the rider's right and the rider's left. That kind of dumps you into a 13-foot pipe. 13 was kind of the standard when, you know, the US Open was back in Stratton in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then right there you kind of see that nice transitional feature, and then a quick little hip into that 22-foot wall. That thing is massive, and from what I'm gathering, these guys here are going to get, I think, anywhere between 2 and 3 hits in that 22-footer.
You know, a lot of it depends on how they enter the 22-foot halfpipe and how big and how much they travel.
Yep.
So some riders may get more, some will get less, but that's what goes to the judges, where they have to really, you know, differentiate it. So this is, let's go to the judging right here.
Overall impression, baby. The way I like to describe it is how a run makes you feel. Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel psyched? When you look at a piece of art, Louis, if you like it, your overall impression is that that's a nice piece of art. That's the way to look at it today. And it's different, you know, going from SLS and slope style. Now with the modified super pipe, you got to go with overall impression.
And here's the start list. We have 30 men. Top 10 make it to finals, and that is a really harsh cut, because all 30 of these men could easily make the final. So, you know, normally you see people saving it for the finals, but here at the Burton US Open, semifinals is almost just as intense as the finals.
And some of the riders I'm looking forward to, I mean, you got Nick Baden, Ben Ferguson, Jake Pates, Toby Miller, of course, Scotty James and Yuto Totsuka. That little rivalry is going to keep going today here in semifinals. Those two have been battling it out for almost 2 years now.
Exactly, and you said Nick Baden. Well, Nick Baden, I believe, is at the top of the half pipe. I don't know if Valentino will be dropping in. We're going to have to wait and see. That's why the starters are up there. They're trying to get everybody together, see who's here, who's not.
Valentino took a pretty hearty slam. It looks like he is in fact going to drop in. He took a little bit of a slam in practice the other day, and we actually saw him in a sling, and he was going to get it checked out by the doctor. Looks like he is cleared and ready to go, and the youngster from Dalmeny, Australia.
And that does not feel good on a shoulder that you already banged up a little bit. But Valentino is one of those young kids who made a statement last year in the Junior Jam, came into the semifinals, and really put everybody on notice. He's just 14 years old. You know, we thought Finn was young at 15. Valentino being 14, a slope style, half pipe, backcountry. He's somebody that can really rip anything you put in front of him.
Yeah, he can ride it all, and he's nursing that shoulder a little bit. That's not the fall you want to take, but kudos to Valentino Guseli for manning up and dropping in and fighting through injury. You know, a large part of being a professional snowboarder is battling through injury, right?
And
they're inevitable.
For me, it was, you know, I used to talk to my dad about it, and it's like, what's pain and what's injury? What can you ride through and what's not smart to ride on? You know, we have some of the best doctors here on staff and in Vail that have been working with Val, so he obviously got cleared and knew that, you know, if you're going to hit it, even just the slightest tap is going to be painful, as you saw there, because he's one tough kid. And now, you want to do this welcome? Because I feel like this is a big one.
I would be honored to do this welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Sal Masakella.
Dudes.
Back in the studio
Bros.
for day 2.
How are we on a beautiful Bluebird magic
Does it
day?
get better than
No,
this?
it doesn't get much better than this, and it's sad. There is wind, though. We just had
We got a little
plant that
wind.
just
We got a
hit.
plant down.
You see the little front coming up over the mountains right there. Sad to see that go down for Valentino, man. That kid has been working so hard. You see how much he's grown
It's crazy.
in the last year and a half. He literally has been going through physical growing pains, but that's not the last that we're going to see of him.
Now we got Nick
I love
Baden.
this.
I cannot wait to see what he does in this modified pipe. Starting things off with an alley-oop nose tap. Baden is one of the most unique, fluid, and spontaneous snowboarders alive.
He is one of my favorite snowboarders. There's the nice slash, catching a little air but hitting the lip into that air to fakie.
Wow.
You know what? I've seen him just show up to any half pipe, cold turkey, massive air to fakie, which is so difficult to do even when you're warmed up. And there's a huge board slide down the whole pipe wall. Nick Baden, another great all-around
You
rider.
think that Nick Baden came here to have fun?
I think so.
I mean, that's what you got to love about the fact that the mini pipe with the two tombstones at the start just sort of takes you out of that normal super pipe, super critical, serious energy.
Absolutely.
And puts you more in oh, I'm here to have fun and ride my snowboard. Yes, it's a competition, but right off the bat with that trick right there.
And I was drawing comparisons to the slopestyle course yesterday, right? You know, like riders like Red Gerard handled that course really well. Dusty Henriksen, because it wasn't your standard, 3-rail, 3 straight-on takeoff cheese wedges, and it was, the best rider qualified in first place yesterday. I think that's going to be exactly the same here in the modified pipe.
And look, this isn't going to be the highest scoring run. The judges are still looking for a great big of technical maneuvers down at the bottom, but that gets you fired up to go snowboarding,
Yeah, it does.
which is what the U.S. Open is about.
He's one of those riders. I love to ride with him. I've been riding with him a bit back in Utah, and I get so excited. He just brings energy and brings positive vibes when you're on the mountain with him.
Well, you said energy and positive vibes. It's almost like you called Ben Ferguson into the pipe.
You willed it.
Called
into
him from
existence.
the backcountry.
Exactly. I mean, talk about vibes, energy, power.
Power, definitely power.
Also, keep this in mind when you're watching Ben Ferguson. He's one of the best pipe riders in the world. This dude has literally been snowmobiling in British Columbia in Powder, filming for the Burton movie, One World, for the entire winter. He has not ridden a lot of half pipe, and this is going to show you what a natural he is.
He starts off with that Algarial on the tombstone to the back 180. Coming in switch, front cab 180, now back to regular. Big method right there.
That is the international language of snowboarding right there.
Double crippler. Into the front side alley-oop indie grab. Nice slash to end it. Like we said, he's been on a snowmobile most of this winter and doing a double crippler.
But yesterday we talked to Red Gerard, right, about the fact that he's been spending a lot of time in the backcountry and competing. And what did he say? He said there's nothing like coming to competition after you've been out in the backcountry enjoying snowboarding at that level. You get to come into an event, into a competition with a different appreciation and energy to come in and have fun.
Absolutely. It's a whole different mindset. I feel like these guys have less pressure on their shoulders because they've just been out there. Obviously, it's hard work filming a video part, but it's a lot of fun. You're out there with your friends, you're sledding around, you're riding powder, you're logging clips. You're just feeling really good, and you could tell in Ben's run, he's having fun right now.
But there's not a better event to come to for having fun than the Burton US Open, especially and a modified half pipe. So I think this was perfect. You've been sledding, kind of time to decompress and focus on something else, and then come here to one of the most fun events and put on a show.
So I was telling Louis earlier, right, that pipe is like a full retrospective of the US Open. You got tombstones, you got a 13-footer into a 22-footer. I'm going to go ahead and say that run that Ben Ferguson just had with double cripplers and simple tricks like a frontside alley-oop, that's kind of a retrospective of half-pipe snowboarding as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so cool about this event. As we see the Frenchman, Liam Tourki, for most of the kids in competition never seen a 13-foot half-pipe.
Totally. Let
alone known that was like the benchmark for a very, very long time.
It's very true.
Don't even know how to ride transitions this small.
Yeah. So Liam Tourki ollying up onto the tombstone, 50-50 on the tombstone. That is hands down the most original line I've seen up on that upper section of the pipe.
There's that front side 1080 coming from France into the cab. 1080 left a little early, just clipping the deck.
I can't wait to see the replay of that entrance. Ollie up onto the tombstone, 50-50. Drop into the 13-footer.
And he had the backside 540 out of the mini half pipe to the jump landing, which we haven't seen yet today either.
Yeah, that was actually the first run I've ever seen
right here. Here's
Liam
your
take, and I am highly impressed with this kid.
And the indie grab off.
That was rad. We were up filming for the Red Bull Signature Series just before this, and I was standing up at the top, and I was like, oh, maybe they'll put in a little wedge that'll let people kick up to the tombstone. And Mr. Tourki was like, I don't need a wedge.
I don't need
I'm
that.
just going to ollie up onto
I got
the thing.
legs.
But I did see that the line was possible. I was like, someone needs to get up on top of that. What happened there, Louis?
Just a little early. I actually think he saw the deck and got a little nervous. I think he could have brought it in. It would have been close, but you look back, it's a best of 2 runs. So he has a second run to make a slight adjustment, but I love it. Starting off strong here in the semifinals.
From Mammoth Lakes, California, Mr. Joshua Bowman.
The gentle giant.
He's not a small human.
No.
He's a beast.
Only 21 years old. And he's a rider that is 0 to 100. He does not speed check, he sends it.
Do you think that's going to help him or play to his advantage or disadvantage in a pipe like this? I mean, he's going to be dropping into a 13-footer. Do you want to pump the brakes in the top section and then turn it on in the 22? How would you approach it?
I think, you got to get through. You want to kind of feel comfortable. But a 13-foot half pipe to him is really small compared to a 13-foot half pipe to me.
That's right.
It's literally a mini ramp for him.
And you see those trannies are just so tight. The transition's a lot quicker than the 22-foot half pipe, which is what everyone's used to riding.
I'm kind of getting the feeling that this modified pipe, it's going to be all about originality and line selection in the 13-foot section of the pipe, and then hammer time in the 22.
Exactly, and Josh Bowman just, it's a throwaway run, but he get a little extra practice. I still do a frontside 1260 and then air into the fence.
Was he trying to go over the banners? Because that would be...
He was trying to go banner wall ride.
I'd like to see that line. I would like to see that. I'm not going to lie. That'd be incredible.
I like how he just gave us a little flex of his power, though, on that first wall that he came in. Didn't make it, but the way he just boom.
And there it is. There's the backside alley-oop and just clip the coping, and before you know it, the flat bottom. And there's the frontside 1260 just for fun.
He shot out of that thing like someone had pulled him into it.
I think he was trying to go over the banners.
So he would have taken out that lady that's just trying to get to the viewing.
That was insane. 0 to 100 indeed.
All right, Josh Bowman, looking forward to your second run for sure. Ran into this kid last night at Sushi, Matsuhisa. He looked like he was ready to go. Jake Pates, I know he's well fed. This is your call?
This kid right here.
Every time you say this kid right here.
I'm telling you, Jake Pates has learned some new tricks. He's upped his amplitude. He's focused. He's
the home
incredibly
game
talented.
Eagle, Colorado.
I'm calling it right now. I think this kid's going to qualify. He's an incredible pipe rider.
I'm going to see in practice. He had a sick entrance into the mini pipe. Let's see if he does it right here.
His front lip on that tombstone.
Back 7 out.
Look at the
air.
speed at which he is taking to this pipe.
Boom, that's a new trick for him right there. The frontside double cork 1260. He actually just really started putting those on snow earlier, let's say January. So just to come in first run and to throw it down just shows what it's going to take to make a final.
I don't want to give him the announcer's curse, but I got faith in Jake Pates. I'm still calling it. I think this kid has something really special at this Open.
I like how he treated the mini pipe like the side hit and slope style.
Yeah.
With that 7 and transferred in. That was amazing.
And this right here, the backside 720 to the jump landing, that is cool. I mean,
Insane.
It's different. You gotta separate yourself in that mini pipe. And there's the
He was watching slopestyle yesterday.
Double cork 1260. I think when the grab kind of slipped out there, it slowed his spin down, but that's definitely a trick that I'd expect him to put down in run number 2.
It looked like maybe one more foot of air and he could have put that down, and I think that would have been your new leader. That was a heck of a run from Jake Pates.
I love watching him ride too.
Me too, man. He is so smooth.
From Southbury, Connecticut, East Coast, where you at? Joey Okesson.
Okemo Mountain School. So he's a youngster.
Is that a rival of Stratton Mountain School?
I don't know if you want to call it a rivalry when we were at
Shots fired. Shots fired.
But this kid, I've really got to know him over in the off season, and great kid and strong rider, good skateboarder.
Little wall ride to fakie there on the tombstone.
Then that cab 7, a little quick binding adjustment before to pop into the half pipe and building some speed here. There's a frontside 5, nice and floaty. Into the backside 900, coming into the last hit. Huge double crippler.
Wow, taking a note right out of Ben Ferg's playbook. That double crippler was insane.
And in the way that he built as he went down the 22-foot halfpipe, which is how a halfpipe really should be ridden, is you're building your speed because your momentum keeps going. You're coming down those 22-foot walls, and that's what he did. He ended with a bang.
Do you think the last hit crowd effect does, in fact, have an effect in competitive halfpipe riding?
I do 100%, and it's also the last thing the judges see. So if you might have had a little bobble up top, you ended with an exclamation point, and it's like, yo, check out my double crippler, and I land high on the wall.
It's huge. It's in everybody's face.
Right in everyone's
crowd goes nuts. It just ups the energy of your entire run.
You know, Joey's somebody who rides in Southern Vermont and probably grew up going to the US Open and watching riders compete there, and now he is one of those riders.
Wait till he hears how you called out his school being inferior to yours, though. That's going to be a whole side conversation.
We had a Red Bull school contest, so
yeah,
the results speak for themselves.
Stand with it. From Germany, it's Christoph Lechner. I respect it. I respect it. I do respect it.
I mean, I was there for Waterville Academy at the time. I was coaching there, and I witnessed. I mean, Louis took it. He was the man that day. You were a god that day.
Thank you.
Is the jersey in the rafters? Is there like a Louis room?
The bib.
I mean, it's hard. You got Danny Davis went there. We had quite the crew. Luke Petrani. This is kid. You're talking about growing. This kid right here, I swear, has grown a foot in the last 6 months.
Yeah, Christoph definitely hit his growth spurt, but he also hit his amplitude spurt. That was huge.
Into that backside 900 to the last hit. Frontside double cork 1080.
There it is. That was a heck of a run from Christoph.
Great to see. You know, I love to see Germany halfpipe riding building again because they had such a strong team. Remember in Vancouver, they had so many great riders. and now the next generation has arrived. You know, Andre's not competing, but he's someone that's kind of leading the charge, and these youngsters get to ride with every day.
Hey, someone's got to make David Benedek proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
These kids are doing a good job.
One of my favorite riders of all time. Front
What's
side
there was an OG.
Xavier Hoffman was a stud half-pipe
German
rider,
stud.
too.
Going even further back.
Are you talking about Max Plotzinator?
There was the plots, but there's
That
another one.
dude.
I'll think of it.
That dude was incredible.
I just remember Xavier Hoffman had some crazy air to fakies, and we have a new leader.
Christoph Lechner.
Ben
59.33.
Ben Ferguson currently sitting in second place, and Joey Okesson in third. So only the top 10 advance. We were dealing with this yesterday in the men's field. It is such a harsh cut. You are literally cutting more than 1/3 or 2/3 of the entire field.
And, you know, the judges scale. It's tough when you have 30 of the best. We saw it yesterday in slopestyle, like you mentioned, and we'll find out exactly what the judges are looking for. We speculate all the time. We'll check in with the head judge, Brando, right now. What are you guys looking for, sir?
So typically we'll weigh execution fairly strong. Trick difficulty is up there, variety, as well as amplitude. So for the top section of the pipe, we're definitely going to look at variety and less on the amplitude because it's a 13-foot pipe. As well, because there's different features in there, we can add a criteria because it's a modified pipe, and we can use coarse use. In a typical pipe, we won't be able to use coarse use because it's the same pipe all the way down.
Basically what he's saying is that everything changes.
Everything changes.
Which is awesome.
This is overall impression.
It's two or three courses in one.
Yep.
And that top section is a different party from the bottom.
Yeah, variety and creativity in the top section, trick difficulty and execution in the bottom section.
Well, thank you, Brandon Wong. And thank you to our judges.
I love watching this kid ride right here.
Jack Coyne is, you know, he's on the U.S. rookie team. J.J. Thomas coaching him, but he has just a different type of riding style.
Yeah, he's got a really fresh outlook. He's a young up-and-comer, and you can see it in that top section there. Alley-oop, back rodeo.
And he's got a mean switch Michael Chuck right there, starting it off. Still on riding switch into the cab double 10. Just didn't quite get the rotation or the amplitude. But that upper section was fun to watch. I think that was the way that these designers had in mind when they were designing is they want to see runs like that.
One might say that Jack Coyne's upper section was money.
Good job.
Sorry, I'll change.
T-Bird, you're on fire.
I'll change the subject.
No, just well played. You know, if the fruit's there, you got to pick it.
That's right.
You can't leave it on the tree.
Frontside invert right there from Jack Coyne. Into that alley-oop switchback rodeo. And
Just
this is where,
early.
this is where it went wrong. Did he pop early, Lou?
A little early, but the amplitude's not there. So if you're going to do them small, as I would know on some of those times, is you got to really whip it because that's 2 flips you got to get over in a small air time. So that'll be a throwaway run for Jack Coyne.
But that is interesting, right? Because in semifinals, it is the best of 2 runs. So these riders are going to want to put down their absolute best run to get to finals and get granted a third.
From Nagoya, Japan, next up is Kaishu Nakagawa, 15 years of age. We've obviously been talking the last couple days about the endless well coming from Japan. You even said, Louis, you're like, yo, you think that these kids are dope. You see the kids that you haven't seen yet.
And this is one of them right here because I've been seeing him ride for maybe 2 years, and he wouldn't even get a chance to compete in a World Cup with how strong the Japanese team is. But here at the Burton US Open, this is a place where you can make a name for yourself, as so many Japanese have as well. I mean, I remember Kazu when he was young, Ayumu when he was younger, just riding so well.
I remember after watching Kazu Kokubo in, I believe it was 2001, we just could not stop talking about, we called him the kid in the floppy hat.
Yeah.
Because his hat was too big for his head. It looked like he was almost going to fly off his head every time he left the pipe. And that was his big introduction to the snowboard.
That was a nice frontside 1440 flat into the cab 1080.
talk about 0 to 100.
And a 9. A 9 was so slow compared to that 14. Like, oh.
It almost looked like he was thinking 1080, and he was like, oh, I'll just chill.
He's like, but the fact that he had that option, he's like, I could, no.
I could, but I don't need to. Yeah. And I'll do so steezily.
Yeah.
You know, it was that alley-oop, though, he carved so straight up and stomped it in the flat bottom and kept it moving, which was a good save. You see him off the tombstone there, backside air.
15 years of it.
Well, this is going back to what Sal said. When you should see the kids that you haven't seen yet, you're looking at them right here. This is the future of Japanese half-pipe snowboarding, and it looks bright.
And like we said, this is semifinals, but you have to bring it to make it to a final. Top 10,
yeah.
You got to bring your A game in the semifinals. It's gonna be hard to make.
Especially when the pipe's running as fast and as well as it is, and the weather's beautiful, and it's not windy, and it's just a perfect day for a half-pipe contest today.
Telluride, Colorado. If you haven't been there, you should go there. It's a great town. If you don't believe us, just ask Lucas Foster.
Another U.S. snowboarding rookie. Also a great skateboarder.
Really good skateboarder.
Really good skateboarder.
Yeah.
He's another one under J.J. Thomas. So
Saw J.J. Thomas, the legend.
He's right there, giving him some pointers.
Saying, now look, you just want to just keep it chill right through here, and then just, you know, let it ride. Just do everything that we talked about. Go out there and have fun. How's that?
That was actually really good, because I've worked with JJ for many years, and I've ridden with JJ for many years, and that's a perfect example of how what he would say.
He's so chill. He's just one of those people as a coach who he's a feeler as opposed to like a drill sergeant. Oh.
You know, it's so hard. You want to pop off that tombstone, but you don't have much transition to land on.
Yeah, there's not much underneath you to catch you. But he's just going to continue on like it's a practice run.
And there's that backside double cork 1260. Big old frontside
air. What a way to end a run. So he's going to toss that one away, look toward his second run.
That frontside air was dirty.
That frontside air was insane.
Haaken-esque.
Yeah. Yeah, U.S. pipe riding is in good hands with kids like Lucas Foster ready to take the wheel. That's exactly what you said, Louis. There just wasn't enough transition. He pretty much landed flat on that.
But look at that. You know, the thing is it's just hard because you're so used to those long 22-foot transitions, and then you throw a really quick, short 13-foot transition.
Yeah.
And we're deep in the season. Like, you know, riders have been in that mindset, same type of run, 6 to 7 walls. What happens when this sort of gets broken up, what your routine gets broken up like this?
I love it. I think it's great for your mind, too, to look at a half pipe differently.
Yeah.
Because you look at it, you show up, this is what I'm going to do, this is my run. But then when you come to a modified half pipe, especially one with a 13-foot half pipe walls, throw that out the window. It's a new day. Okay, day one, you feel it out. Day two, you build. So it just like makes your mind work, and it's healthy, and it's great for snowboarding. It's great for your own riding, but just for as a sport as a whole, it helps.
I think what's going to get really interesting, too, later on in the competition is talking about the riders who are going to be in that 22-footer. Scotty James, is he going to get – he travels so far. A lot of riders we see are getting 3, maybe 4 hits. I suspect if Scotty goes as big as he normally does, he might only get 2.
It's all about the drop-in, how far he travels on that air to drop in.
Yeah.
And same with Yuto. They both, you know, have big tricks, go big, and they travel. So if they drop in early, they might get a little bit more. But as the day goes on, I think you're going to get less hits.
Goes back to Brandon Wong at the beginning. Do you think it's going to be a case of rewarding for more tricks or rewarding for better tricks, less tricks in the 22-footer?
I think it kind of depends on what are those good tricks versus what are those great tricks.
So less could be more.
Yeah, and you know, also, what do they do up top? Because the top is a section where I feel like you can really stand out.
Yeah.
What are you doing to separate yourself from the other riders that are doing 12 and 12 in the traditional half pipe?
Yep.
And it's just like the rail section at the top of slopestyle. It's not throwaway.
Oh,
That's
not at all.
It's not just here for show.
Yeah. No, it all counts. Yeah.
How important, you know, you were talking about Lucas being a good skateboarder. How much do you think it affects your ability in transition overall to be a great skateboarder at that next level in snowboarding?
You know, I think the one major thing that it helps with is how you look at a modified halfpipe. How do you look at the tombstone? How do you look at your line through that? Because that's kind of feels like you're skating a mini ramp. But skaters have always looked at a feature that everybody might walk by, a normal person will walk by, they look at it differently. Ooh, I could wall ride that, I could grind that, I could do something different. And I think the way they attack a modified halfpipe is different, and it's beneficial for people who skate.
Preach. Preach, Louie. As we head back up to the top, keep that in mind as we're watching that top section. It looks so cool up there.
It
when
really
you look
does.
at that pipe, like you're looking at it from the top up, amazing. But from the bottom up, top down, so cool. As next up is Jason Wole
J-Dog.
from Winter Park, Colorado.
You know, Jason Woolley makes me laugh because if you land a trick or he lands a trick, he's just as stoked. He is stoked to be a part of snowboarding, being up there at the top of the pipe, you know, handing out high fives. And he's another one that he just sends. I've seen him do stuff. I'm like, you went ridiculous for your first run of the day. And there's
Oh, he was trying to put a hand down on that thing, and he went too big.
Almost like that.
Yeah.
It was like he aired over the tombstone doing a crippler. Coming into the backside, ooh, a little kick out. Dropping into the traditional 22-foot half pipe. There's that front side 900 tail grab into the double Michael Chuck. Shout out Michael Chuck. Into the front side double cork 1080.
And so that right there, you got to bring up the fact, do you go for the last hit? When you're running out of half pipe, do you send or do you hit the brakes and see what the score is going to be?
You know, the hard thing is when you're looking at it, and if you just bailed out, you're like, you skipped a hit. But you're like, hey, I'm one of those riders that travel a lot. So it's kind of tough, and if you're going to go for it, you got to really pop. So if you do land on the downhill part, you still catch training.
I forgot we're sitting next to 50 feet a wall.
Yeah.
50 feet down the wall guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I travel. But I also pop a lot. So I'm used to, you know, if I need to catch small tranny, I just pop super hard. And there's the double Michael Chuck indie grab. And then right here.
And actually, it looked like he had plenty of pipe to work with.
He did. He just kind of had a steeper line on that trick, so you got to give it and just get the shoulders turned back down into the pipe.
Yeah.
And I think he would have been fine, but the way that he left his board kind of hanging over the coping is what caused him to clip it.
Well, at least he didn't clip it with his tailbone.
We call that the Roman chair.
Oh.
And I have plenty of back injuries to attest to how bad that hurts.
That is not the seat that you're looking for.
No, it is not. It is no throne, that's for sure.
I had one of those a very long time ago, and it's one of those moments where I was like, yeah, I don't need to do this.
I've had many.
I think
And
it
it's
was
one
at
that you like when you see someone do it though, you feel it. It's like almost you have
You
like
get shorter.
flashback. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I would be way taller if I didn't Roman chair so much.
From New Zealand, it's Rikai Tait. He's 21 years old. Louis, that was really, really funny.
Rikai, you talk about skateboarders, we're going to keep saying another great skateboarder, but he's been ripping practice in this modified halfpipe. Even the one at Tour, he wasn't in the contest, but riding, and you just saw the potential, and then just watching him this week. He always takes unique and different lines, and I've seen multiple lines from him in the mini pipe.
Rikai rocking wire headphones, which we haven't seen in decades.
That's an homage to the 13-foot pipe.
Yes, he said, let me
Look
take it
at
back.
that.
That was sweet.
That alley-oop was insane. I think it threw him off his line just a little bit.
Shout out Danny Cass, 270 into the pipe, into the air to fakie, coming in switch, into the cab double 10, perfect. And there's the front side double 10. What a great run.
That run had it all. That was unbelievable.
How do you choose a replay for that run? Because both hits in the mini pipe were amazing.
Yeah.
And then he brought it with the air to fake, or the 270 in, then the air to fakie.
And 3 full hits, big hits in that 22-footer.
And you talked about like someone who matches transition to transition. That was perfection.
Check out this McTwist.
Just stands up, knew he was going to land a little low and just stood up, and then perfect training catch on that. And then here's the alley-oop 270 in.
I love the Danny Cass call out. I remember the
Exactly.
first time I saw him do that. It was unreal.
But air to fakie into the cab double cork 1080, switch front side, and then ending with the front side double cork 1080. And I like that he had the air to fakie to start it all off. It wasn't just flip, 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 flip. It was air to fakie, and now I'm gonna throw down.
You talked about the building.
Yes.
The crescendo.
Yep.
And the score reflects.
80.5 for Rikai Tait.
That run might have been the closest thing I've seen to a comprehensive explanation of the entire history of halfpipe snowboarding. McTwist,
Right.
alley-oop, back-to-back double cork 10s.
Toby Miller.
Yeah, this is gonna be
Professional smiler.
very creative.
Toby Miller.
I picture Toby waking up in the morning with a smile on
Yeah,
his face.
just perma-grinning.
Literally, as soon as he opens his eyes, he's smiling. This kid is always in the best mood.
He is, because I have to wake him up 90% of the time when we're supposed to be somewhere.
The pride of Truckee.
This kid loves to snowboard.
He's gonna get weird.
Ready for this? Ooh,
Wow.
I like it.
Straight mini ramp session. I love it.
How's that, though? The nollie front flip. Coming in the backside air, and he's got big half pipe tricks as well. Front side double cork 1080. Coming in switch now. Cab double cork 1080. Are we gonna see a 12? And there's the front side double cork 1260.
Wow.
How do you like that?
Toby Miller just put the rest of the field on notice. That was unbelievable.
Now, what I'm excited though is he had a cool upper section,
Yep.
but we haven't seen anyone do it yet, so we don't know how the judges are going to score.
Exactly. You look at this as opposed to Rikai Tait. He went with a McTwist and an alley-oop.
Frontside 50-50.
He's going frontside 50-50,
And then
some stalls, but then he
nollie
also
front
threw in
out.
the nollie front flip
Right.
on that transfer cat paw fly out. But then 2 10s and a 12.
All bolts.
That was by far the most impressive 22-foot section we've seen today. I'm very interested to see how the judges are going to put Toby's score in comparison to Rikai Tait.
And large front side double cork 1260.
And he can take that to 14.
Yep.
Yes?
And he's got some other doubles in the bag. He's got some other lines in the upper section, so it'd be interesting to see if he's going to change it up. But
Okay. So that right there tells me the judges are looking very carefully at that top section. They want to see some errors. They want to see some
What did we
tricks.
say before? We said like that's not here for show.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is a 50-50 is like, yeah, it's low consequence, but it's a balancing act still
It's
because
hard.
you're on the corner.
Yeah.
Chase Blackwell coming in next
I like this kid.
from
I like this
Longmont,
kid.
Colorado.
This is pretty much, you always see Toby and Chase together riding.
Yep.
And that's why they're, have really come on in the last couple years, just pushing each other.
Also just a strong name. What's your name? Chase Blackwell.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Mmm.
Frontside 5 off the tombstone into the 13-footer. Ooh, getting a little bit squirrely on that back 5 to the cat paw.
Double grab into the pipe. There's the front side double cork 1080. Coming in switch. Switch front side 1080. I think he even might have got a double grab on that one. I got to watch, but there's the front side 9. And there, we opt out. Didn't have the wall. And plus he had so much speed, but I got to see the replay of the cab 10 because I think he might have gotten a double grab on that.
He might have.
And just
Yeah.
the little things like that can separate, two switch frontside 1080s.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it
That's-
can make or break your run.
Because it's different. They want to see you add your own style to every trick. Watch this. Stomp.
Stomp the flats.
That's a risky trick because you do not have a lot of transition at your mercy.
And then here it is right here. Double grab rocket. I think he grabbed rocket, it looked like. But I could be wrong. Either way, it was a double grab and it was sick. There's that front side 900. So he had one hit on the tombstone and then he aired out to the jump landing on with a backside 5. Or 3, I should say. Be interesting.
I also like the fact that he competed in the Baker Bank Slalom this year.
That was awesome.
He just wants to see all aspects of snowboarding.
And it's his birthday today. We got to say happy birthday,
birthday.
Chase Blackwell.
in third place. And as the slippers come down to clean it up. We see Rikai Tait in first place, followed by Toby Miller, Chase Blackwell, Liam Tourki there at the bottom. But so many heavy hitters still to come, gents.
Yeah, we got Danny Davis, Taylor Gold, Jan Scherrer, Scotty James.
How weird is Danny Davis going to get on the
I'm very excited.
on the top part of the course?
I'm really excited to see Danny's run.
And Chase Josie. Chase Josie, regular switch, any weird stuff. I mean, he's so strong at any direction on his snowboard.
Yeah, he's an incredible snowboarder.
So, I mean, it was great. I think what really stood out to me is Rikai, how he rode the 13-foot halfpipe was like an actual halfpipe. He landed on the wall and took the whole tranny, which, you know, a lot of riders, you see them air and then they just stomp flat. Whereas he actually rode it, caught tranny, rode it, caught tranny, and then did it top to bottom pretty smooth.
Well, why don't we get some perspective? Check in with Mr. Toby Miller, who is on headset. Hello, Toby.
What's going on, everybody? It's nice to hear your guys' voices. We don't get to hear them up there.
Well, our voices have been applied to how rad you've been riding. How much fun is this setup? What's it like, you know, taking a break from the norms of a superpipe event with this modified pipe?
Oh man, we're having so much fun up top. It's absolutely incredible. You know, this modified setup really allows the riders to get creative, innovative, and show a different style of riding than you normally see in your traditional 5-hit half-pipe contest. So we're having a blast out there. Definitely trying to put together combos throughout the last 2 days of practice, and super stoked to finally put one run down, and definitely want to clean up the second. Could have cleaned up my second.
Hey, Toby, this is T-Bird here. How's it going, my man?
What's going on, T-Bird? Great to hear from you, boss.
You too, my man. I got a theory that I think when you wake up in the morning, you immediately have a smile on your face. True or false?
I'd say about 10 minutes after I wake up.
Okay.
Louis can vouch for this. I'm not a big morning guy until I get my first Red Bull in, you know.
Okay, I like that.
Well played, sir. Good luck in your second run, and keep smiling.
Awesome.
Get it.
Thank you, guys.
Right on, Toby.
That kid's incredible.
I think
Just a ball of energy.
I was just laughing. My man, Champ, you guys were just going back and forth. I was like dying.
When they're media training, your sponsors are media training you on how to be, like, Toby is the person that you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Just like straight up joy, happy to be here. As next up, we have Shuichiro Shigeno from Kawasaki, Japan.
I love it.
14 years old.
Another one, I'm telling you, saw him about 2 years ago as well, and along with Kaishu, and these kids just, they all rip.
If you could buy stock in the Japanese snowboard team, I certainly would.
100%. Look at that. Backflip to switch. Cap 3 method.
Wow.
Seen one of those. That was nice.
I haven't seen one of those, let alone from a 14-year-old kid in a 13-foot pipe.
There's that backside 900 coming right here. Frontside double cork 1080. Just look at the edging. And there's the cap frontside 1080. Switch frontside.
Wow. It looked like he just pressed the turbo button on that second hit. He just doubled his height. It's all edge control.
It's all edge control and technique, and that's the one thing that the Japanese have, and it's so fun to watch. You try to emulate how they sit on their edge across the flat bottom, but right here.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize it's not necessarily about being a good half-pipe rider isn't about what you do in the air, because you can't even get into the air unless you learn what to do in the flats.
Exactly. There's that frontside double cork 1080, just puts it down. They're landing high on the wall, which the judges love to see. In the cab 1080, we're starting to get some heaters landed.
Yeah.
That landing on the cab 1080 was amazing, and just that variance, like you talked about, like who's going to be able to like really show variance from top to bottom. I was the 14-year-old being like, I'll show you guys what's up.
Yeah.
You want me to land a good run? You want me to do a half cab method in the pipe?
That was sweet. 14, and look at that, Shigeno, he's stoked as he's right up in the second place. How's that? Hey,
Yeah.
US Open, first time. I'm in second place.
Unreal.
After my first run. David Hoblitzel, 23 years old.
We call him Swiss Dave. Another kid that is just smiley. He's just a smiley guy.
He was real smiley that year. He ended up on the podium here in the US Open pipe. That's the first time I ever saw this kid ride, and he is incredibly talented.
Goofy footer.
Wait for him in this 22 as well. He goes absolutely gigantic, but I'm super excited to see what he's going to do here. Frontside invert on the tombstone.
And getting it up top.
Wow. All the way to the flats.
There's the backside 900.
He's got such a cool looking back nine.
Into the frontside double cork 1080. Into the cab 900.
You don't see that trick very often.
Very
on the backside wall.
very difficult to land. Just so awkward. You're coming around blind. Cab nines are an underrated trick for how difficult they are.
Woo, look at that.
What's up? Freestyle. Get it.
But he got all the way out to the coping right there. That's always the goal. Got to get the hand on the coping.
Louis, I'm not going to lie. I want to see what you would do on that thing. You would tear that thing up.
I do love some hammerhands and some mini half pipes.
That backside nine has such a cool axis to it.
There's the frontside double cork 1080. 2 flips while spinning a 1080. And then ending with the unorthodox cab 900. Puts it down.
Switch to switch.
To the board twirl.
It's like, you can give me a couple more points down here for my freestyling, flat landing.
Judges are deliberating. This is going to be an interesting score because it was big, it was technical, and both sections, I thought, were equally innovative.
You know, the one thing I've been really wondering, 4th place with a 70.6.
Swiss Dave.
Is I'm interested in knowing, like in a half pipe, you want to land high on the wall, but in the mini pipe, are they deducting? Does that play a part if they land low on there? Because Swiss Dave landed pretty flat, but he stomped it.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of transition up there.
Yeah.
True. Well, next up from Pyeongchang, Korea is Kwang Ki Lee.
Yeah, this guy will send. He's funny, strong rider, representing Korea out here.
I mean, and that's something else to talk about too, is just the representation of snowboarding on a global scheme. I mean, of course, you got the US, you got Australia, France, Germany, Korea, Japan, New Zealand. It's unbelievable. You see it at the US Open more so than any other snowboard event.
You know, yesterday we talked about fast spinners, right? Kwang Ki is one of the fastest frontside spinners in halfpipe snowboarding.
Nice little Andrecht on the tombstone there. Into the switch alley-oop rodeo. Oh, nollie front flip off the tiniest of bumps in the bottom of that 13-foot section.
And here we go. Frontside 1080 tail grab. Coming in switch. Cab 720. And there's a frontside 1260. Just popping off the wall a bit. I think that, you know, you lost a little bit of speed on that first hit in the 22-foot half pipe. And so then you think, I got to pop to go bigger, but you're popping off the wall, which makes it harder to land.
How much does the shadow line in the 22-foot section affect these riders, right? So the rider's left wall's in the shade, rider's right wall is in the sun.
You know, it's hard because your eyes are adjusting a lot of times to really bright, dark, really bright, dark. And I think your pupils go crazy. There's the nollie front flip. I was wondering why he was just going to switch up his stance in the middle there. There's that frontside 1080 tail grab, just landing low, which affected his cab 7, which ultimately affected his amplitude on the frontside 1260.
Yeah, he landed real low on that one.
And it's actually really rare to see him fall on that trick. But again, you're popping off the wall. It's a further drop on those 22-foot half pipes. Ooh.
Just a gorgeous day here in Vail. Strap up your seatbelts, friends, because next up is the 17-year-old Kaishu Hirano.
The youngest Hirano. Kaishu Hirano, his oldest brother. Ayumu Hirano, which everybody is very familiar with. And then Kaishu carrying it on for the Hiranos. this winter as Ayumu's getting ready to try to make Tokyo 2020 Olympics for skateboarding.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that. That is incredible.
Kaishu's been riding really strong this winter. Was over at the Youth Olympic Games.
That right there, it's the simplest of hand plants, but it is my favorite. Just a proper Andrek. Really, to me, doesn't get better than that.
Kaishu was on the podium at the Youth Olympics with big method right there. Into the front side 1080, coming in switch. And there's that cab double 1080. Kaishu Hirano.
Wow.
That was insane.
That was...
One thing I will say, I noticed, he got that one hand plant in the 13-foot section and then almost immediately went into the 22. Other riders are getting 2 hits up in there.
Yeah, he built the speed and tried to get the exit, so he did the backside alley-oop 360 to the jump landing.
Yep.
And, you know, out of a hand plant, it's hard to carry that speed to be able to air and make that transfer.
True.
So, again, it's a thing you don't know how the judges are going to score, one versus the other.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they score this one.
But you do a big backside air like that, that's a nice one for the judges to see. To the front side 1080 tail grab. You know, it was interesting. I was wondering what he was going to do for a run because he has a pretty big bag of tricks now that he's learned throughout the winter. And just doing one cab double 1080. And Jimmy.
Pure stoke right there. That is the personification of stoke.
And he's somebody that loves snowboarding. He will ride every single day, all day, doesn't stop, with a smile on his face.
Judges taking their time. And a 62.6 puts him in 6th. Goes back to that question. Probably another wall up at top.
Yeah, is 2 hits better than 1 hit and a fly out? We're going to see as the afternoon progresses.
Brian Walkendorfer.
Local boy.
Yeah, I like this kid.
Playing a
24
home
years old.
game for Vail.
Is there such a thing as home field advantage? Do you believe in it?
No, because I think that it's nice to sleep in your bed, but at the same time, you don't ride this half pipe all day, every day, because you're on the road constantly.
That's true. Yep. Proper frontside invert, but had a little trouble in the ride out there. So this will be a throwaway run, but if I know Ryan Walkendorfer like I do, it's not going to look like a throwaway run. Big old frontside air.
There's the double Michael Chuck. I love his double Michael Chuck. Into the frontside double cork 1080. He has a really good double Michael Chuck. It's like he throws it, waits, and then starts flipping it, whereas a lot of people you see flipping right off the beginning. He just has this weird stall on it.
Well, remember, when you think about the Michael Chuck, like I remember the first time that I saw Michael Chuck throw one, it was in like a 13-foot pipe.
Yeah.
And he used to wait, spin it up at the top, and then somehow make it back into this like no transition.
But he would somehow find it where it existed and catch
Find
it.
it perfectly.
Ahead of his time.
He really was.
I really think so.
Oh, he was he came here from the future.
He's an actual time traveler.
He's probably watching. I remember getting a DM from him last year.
No way.
Yeah, he was stoked. He hit me up on Instagram. He was stoked how many times that we gave him the shout out and the credit whenever the trick was thrown.
It's the least.
It's a popular one though too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's such a cool trick because the access is so abnormal.
Yeah.
Like it's weird when you do it. You're spinning like a saucer.
Yeah. There's the dude.
Well, Danny Davis is a person who's no stranger to innovating and mixing up the different aspects of snowboarding, of course, with his Peace Bark. Let's hear from Danny in his own words how the two blend.
Snowboarding is one of those things where you take a little bit from each thing. You know, when I was building my style as a rider, I would take a little bit from Danny Cass, a little bit from Keir Dillon, a little from Ross Powers. You know, when you're building snowboard courses, that's what you're doing. You're looking at Holy Bowly, you're looking at Peace Park, you're looking at what Do Tour's doing, and if you're the US Open, you're trying to make something that kind of little bit from everything and making your own version. These events influence Peace Park, and if it weren't for the US Open, we would not have had Peace Parks.
One of the carriers of the torch for what snowboard culture is.
Yeah.
Danny Davis. He can ride everything. He's a person who's stoked to get up and ride you'll go have a side hit party with him on a cat track. It'll have just as much fun sending it off a big cliff as much as in the park or in the half pipe.
It's almost like a curiosity, right? Like
Yeah.
he summits a mountain in Bolivia, and then he goes and rides pipe at the highest of levels. He just kind of wants to ride it all. Starting things off with a frontside invert into an Andrecht, back-to-back hand plants.
Oh, somewhere Todd Richards right now is losing his mind.
So 3 hand plants in a row in the 13-foot section of this modified super pipe. Front one into the cab 10.
Into the front side 900 tail grab. Almost kept rotating, but held on, and there's that McTwist chicken wing.
That was so fun to watch. Unreal.
Style.
Yeah.
You can't teach style. You can borrow little pieces and be influenced, but you can't teach someone how to have style.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to be forced. I can see you do something, and if I'm trying to look like you, then I'm trying. You can't try. You just got to let it flow.
Well, here's how you let it flow. That hand plant just all tweaked out and smelly.
I think that was my favorite trick that he did. The flat front 9 tail.
Yeah, the way
so clean.
The way he pulls it in is really nice. I like how he does that. And of course, the stock textbook perfect McTwist chicken wing.
I think if there were one trick that I could do perfectly in a half pipe, it would be a McTwist like that. That's all I would want to know how to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one to learn though, because that's a hard one.
It's a hard one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember people would just be like, all you have to do is just throw it, and then next thing you know, you'll be fine. Just commit. Yeah. Let's just say to the face.
Yeah, you're like, next thing I know, I'll wake up in the hospital
To
tomorrow
the
morning.
face.
I've decked on that trick many times too.
So Danny Davis officially in 3rd place with a 74.33.
Derek Livingston is up next from Canada. I honestly thought that Danny was going to get a little bit more on that score, but 3rd place is great.
Room to improve. You know, maybe next time he mixes up the hand plants and does, you know,
Right.
a little more variety or
Right,
something,
good
and then
call.
keeps his 22-foot section very
Now
similar.
don't crucify me, but I think when he adds a double into the 22-foot, it'll be a big difference.
Yeah, I think Danny left some room to breathe here.
Yep. And Derek Livingston, strong Canadian half-pipe rider. Look at that backside 360.
Little nod to
Switch.
Ross Powers there.
Switch backside 7. Ooh. It's hard, you know, the half-pipe, you gotta flow, and as soon as a little thing throws you off, it affects the next hit, and then that could affect the next hit. It's a chain reaction, so it's very hard because you have such short time in between to erase that and get back into the right mindset as if you just stomped that trick.
Well, especially when you're doing a trick like a switchback 7, it's so blind that by the time you get your feet under you, you're pretty much already hitting the transition to the next wall.
That frontside alley-oop, trying to reach that nose onto the tombstone. Little back 7 alley-oop onto the jump landing, and then there's that switch backside 720. And then just kind of got thrown off there. Straight air, get a little pop, and then unfortunately throwaway because that was coming together.
Now it is going to get very interesting. The next few riders to drop.
We have reached the entree portion of the service. Chase Josie, gotta be one of my top 3 riders in the field. I mean, as far as what you talk about, that variance and that, you know, some riders that you watch, it's like they just put you in a state of expectation.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, what's gonna happen?
His technical difficulty in his pipe runs is almost unmatched.
I would almost want to cover up, so if you don't know already, if he's goofy or regular, to see if you can guess, because that is one of his strongest suits, is that he can ride switch and regular both so strong that you can almost not tell a difference.
Yep.
Well, you already said that when you said he can ride switch and regular.
There's a frontside invert, kind of popping over.
Oh, frontside 7 and a
Hold
little
it together, brother.
impromptu cliff drop.
Coming in switch with a switch double Michael Chuck. Landing a little low, but still squatting it out. Coming into this cab double 1080. Into the frontside double cork 1080. You know, it's hard because he has a switch double crippler that's so cool too. So I was like, switch double nope, switch double 10. I mean, he's got so many variations.
Well, and he landed low on that first hit in the 22-foot section, but it didn't seem to affect his amplitude at all on the next hit. He kept his speed really well through the bottom section of this modified pipe.
Just got right back on that edge and held it, but this right here, whoop, kind of went a little bit over, but held it together. And then
And this right here looks like he was from slopestyle yesterday.
frontside alley 720. And there's the switch double Michael Chuck. To the cab double 10. Looked like a double grab even. Switching up the grabs mid-flip. But that's what you expect when you watch Chase Josie ride. Some variation, switch regular. You don't really know what double he's going to throw at you.
That was a really strong run from Chase Josie. Judges deliberating. Will it be enough for the top 10? So far, nobody has taken down Rikai Tait. The high score of run 1 in the semifinals, 80.5.
You know, top 10 for sure for Chase on this run, but where exactly? Not enough to take down Rikai, I would say, because Rikai's run was very smooth, but bigger tricks.
Right.
So I guess I just put my foot in my mouth by saying that too, but I still think Rikai's flow was so nice as we look at the overall impression, but Chase's trick difficulty was probably the strongest so far.
I think so. And, you know, you counter that with someone like Danny Davis, who had 3 hand plants, a flat 9, no double corks, and a McTwist, currently sitting in 3rd place.
Right.
So we're gonna get a good gauge of how these judges are judging this overall impression.
In the conversation of size versus execution, where do you land?
Amplitude for me. I think
You're
it's
a size guy.
It's the international language.
I like technical riders. Maybe that's because that's how I ride. But I'd always say it's way harder to do a double smaller than a double big. So.
All right.
That is true. Less time in the air.
But amplitude really is a wow factor. And when you're watching half-pipe snowboarding, it's such an event for the spectators that you're like, wow.
Everyone understands going big.
Exactly.
Chase Josie, as you said, would be for sure in that top 10.
You know, it's hard. Would you judge that hand plant as a mistake or that he did it perfectly?
Yeah, because he did. His hand kind of slipped off because he went a little too fast.
Somehow Taylor Gold is 26 years old.
I am absolutely
How did that happen?
loving the resurgence, the comeback of Taylor Gold. Battled injuries for a couple of years. You know, PT'd, got strong again, and I think he's riding better than ever before.
He's definitely a different rider now. I mean, he would come to a contest, I don't feel that my knee's bothering me, but now that he's, you know, body's feeling good, mentally feeling good, he's been having a great winter.
It almost seems like, you know, post-injury in this comeback, it switched his whole mindset of how he approaches half-pipe riding.
Exactly. There's that McTwist chicken wing. I mean, there's the frontside 1260, whipping it around right there.
Wow.
And then the double Michael Chuck. And then slashing. Because he has that to 10 now, which is
That double
something special.
That double Michael Chuck with the grab switch.
Yeah. I like that. I got to see that first tombstone again. Because he was doing a crippler, but it almost looked like he just threw his hand kind of like Locks Open had almost like a butter pad in the slopestyle course. And that's kind of what it reminded me of because he comes in. So was that going for the hand plant?
I
Or
think
was
he missed it.
I think he missed it.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of bobble on the fly out to the cat paw in
definitely.
the landing. I did notice something there. So,
If we're nitpicking.
yeah.
Because, you know, do a double Michael Chuck from a frontside 1260.
That was amazing.
His 22-foot section was flawless. It was incredible.
That was great. Great run also to build on. That's the thing.
Yep.
Because you get 2 runs, and yeah, it's hard to land one of those 2 runs, let alone 2, but still having that confidence going into run number 2 is very nice.
That's what I was just going to say. Mentally, how much does it benefit you to just to put a clean run down, no matter what it is, in a 1 of 2 semifinals?
Oh, it's so nice because you're like laughing up top, you're relaxed. And
I still know how to do this.
Yeah, but I tended to be like a run 2 guy, which wasn't, I didn't ever got to experience that so much, but that's what I saw people do.
I was a run 2 guy.
Listen, I'm a lot more of a run 2 guy.
Well, Taylor Gold going to 11th place, so
Yeah.
just outside.
I think those 2 little bobbles hurt
Clean
him.
it up a bit.
Yeah.
From Ebnat Kabel, Switzerland, Jan Scherrer.
He is somebody to watch in this modified halfpipe.
100%.
He's got some great 22-foot halfpipe tricks that are the new school, but also some Heikki Sorsa-esque alley-oops in there.
Ooh, Heikki Sorsa. That
Man.
is dirty.
One of my favorites.
Like, me too. Me too.
And Jan's been around for a while, and he just cruises. He's such a strong rider, and it's just kind of popping for him now. Coming in switch. There's that switch Mickey in the mini pipe, and actually landed perfect on the tranny. Going for the Algarial, kind of took a little too much speed, but that switch McTwist, man, to start. And let's see if we can, what he's got in the 22-foot halfpipe. There's that backside 900. Coming into the next hit, frontside 1080, double cork into the huge cab double 1080. And the crazy thing is he's got bigger pipe tricks than that too. I love that switch McTwist right there. That was fun. But you like land one trick so good, and then you go across and you go too fast into Algaro. There's that switch McTwist, catching tranny perfectly. Then backside 900. He just landed high on the wall on every one of those hits.
And he holds his grab for so long when he's in the air. He's not just grabbing it and then letting go to get the rest of the spin around. He's
Nope.
got a firm hold on that bad boy.
So see how he just too much speed on that. And it's such a bummer watching because that switch McTwist was so nice in the 13-foot halfpipe.
And it also just goes to show that, like, while these tricks are not done consistently anymore, from an invert standpoint, like, they're hard, they're
Yeah.
technical.
Yeah.
And one thing too is when you ride a 22-foot halfpipe all year, you know the speed. You want to do a hand plan in a 22-foot halfpipe, you can probably get to the top 9 times out of 10. But when you go to a 13-foot halfpipe where the trannies are shorter, they're quicker, you kind of have to re-gauge the speed on how to get just enough because you're going way slower than you're used to. So still in 10th place on the bubble. And then his fellow teammate, Pat Burgener, also a great musician.
Incredible musician.
Coming from Switzerland.
Best hair, by far.
Oh, yeah.
Wins best hair.
I feel like this is another rider that this 13-foot section is really going to play to his advantage, the way he approaches halfpipe riding. Coming in switch, going for that switch frontside invert. And then the alley-oop rodeo. Nollie front flip. I've been seeing a couple of those today. I really like them.
Now dropping in switch into the 22-foot halfpipe. Switch backside 900. Staying switch stance, cab double cork 1080 and just not getting enough. A little under rotated. So unfortunately, a throwaway run for Pat. But I like that, you know, just a different line. Alley back rodeo, pop out, nollie front flip down. But yeah, Sal, he's got some new music he's been dropping. I feel like you said it. You said it for everybody, man. You did it. Now Luke's there. Pat Burgener's there.
Oh, I sure didn't set it for everyone.
I don't know.
But it's just rad how many musicians there are within our space. You know, like there's something about snowboarding and skateboarding that it's that creative energy that lends itself towards art and music. We've seen it throughout the history of the culture, right? Like so many people who can. that can express themselves on a snowboard, and then also that's not enough of an outlet.
Great example, Luke Matrani.
Yep.
Played here
Right.
last night in Vail Village, tore the roof off the place. And he's one of my favorite half-pipe riders, you know, who's ever lived.
Yeah.
I love watching Squid ride.
The
He's
most
incredible.
naturally talented snowboarder I have ever been around.
And skateboarder,
Yeah.
and maybe musician.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's one-stop
the
shop.
triple threat.
Woohoo!
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Ruka Hirano is somehow only 17, and yeah, we're about to go flying. You like to fly? We're about to go flying.
Ruka just came off of a win, giving Scotty James his first second place in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Scotty James was 11-0,
And
and
then
then Ruka came by. He's like, I'm gonna need that.
Let's make that 11-1.
big crippler off the tombstone. Coming into the front side alley-oop 360, carrying some speed. Little backside indie grab. And this is where it gets big. Frontside double cork 1080. Cab double cork 1080 truck driver, it looked like. Into the front side double cork 1260.
Whoa.
Thank you. That was a nice little warm-up run for me.
That was insane.
Just petting transition. Every landing, I'm just gonna pet the transition. Just petting the walls.
So you know, we talked about the one hit in the mini pipe, but somebody like Ruka right there, he was carrying speed. So he did a big crippler right here off the tombstone. Like, probably one of the bigger airs we've seen in there, and then right to the exit.
That is so gnarly to do. A crippler off a tombstone into a 13-foot wall. There is very little transition to be caught there.
And he caught it, though. That's the crazy thing. He didn't
Yeah.
even land back double cork 1080s, getting the double grab on that one, and then ending. This is almost too easy for these guys these days. Just frontside double cork 1260 and lightly just put it down. Thank you.
I'm going out on a limb and saying new leader.
I mean, 80.5 right now is your
Yes.
leader. Rikai Tait is sitting in the #1 spot, and he's been there for quite a while. Is this the first rider that's going to shake up that #1 spot?
We're going to get a good idea on what
He
the
made that
judges
look
are looking
so
for.
easy. That tombstone, I mean, he landed literally in that little, like, whatever, 2.5 foot of transition. Like, he caught it perfectly.
And
Unreal.
The tombstone is verti. Like, it's hard to be able to even do anything off that and catch a transition.
Oh, well, that's what I get.
Yeah, me too.
Ruka Hirano in 4th place. What do you think they saw that we got too excited about?
I mean, I will say this, right? As you're checking out Yuto Totsuka here, you look at Danny Davis. He got 3 hand plants in and then had, 3 big tricks in the 22-footer, so he did technically get more hits in his run than Ruka, but he's pretty comfortable in 4th. He's looking good in 4th place.
This one will be, I'm interested in seeing Yuto's upper section. He's got tricks in these modified pipes, and obviously we all know he has half-pipe tricks, but still.
Yeah, you could say he's a bit more of a traditional 22-foot half-pipe rider. He's only 18 years old. That's all he's ever known. Backside air into the 22-footer.
There's a frontside 1080. Coming in switch. Cab double cork 1080. And frontside double cork 12. Thank
Whoa. That frontside double 12 was ridiculous.
Okay.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Yuto Totsuka and Scotty James have been battling it out.
That was a pretty unique way to hit the tombstone. Kind of ollie, hit it.
And there was that little bobble right
Yeah,
there
little squirrel
on that
there.
front 3. I think that was the best 22-foot section we've seen today from a super pipe riding standpoint. The amplitude, the difficulty, and the execution were all there for me.
The double cork 1260 he does is just so simple.
It
He just
looks like a front 9.
like
It's
the way
crazy.
I mean, I know people can't see me, but it's just like, like, doo. It's like so cash. Like, okay.
But even like he lands so high up on the wall that he doesn't look like he jumped.
I know. I'm like, gosh, it's a double cork 1260, and I'm like, double cork 1260. Like, you're just so relaxed saying it when you watch him because he's so relaxed doing it.
You know, I think that fly out, the front three fly out where he didn't grab and just got squirrely in the air, I think that really hurt him.
It's just a reminder that it's perfection. Perfection is what you need. Scotty James, the man has been on such a run. Let's get his perspective on how this modified halfpipe affects his awareness.
All of these new courses really test air awareness, board control, and all those things, that key fundamentals that you learn from a very young age that you don't get bouncing on a trampoline or sending yourself into an airbag or anything like that.
I like that. He really reminds you that, like, especially this top half of the course, those kind of things didn't exist. Like, the only place that you could practice anything was right here, putting it on snow. It wasn't like, oh, I've been practicing at this thing, and now I'm going to learn how to go try and put it on snow.
It was do or die, and you know the best thing to do for it is to actually go ride it. There's no way around it. So
Scotty James, just the dominance that he's had the last 2 years.
Wow.
Incredible. Did not lose an event last season. Won the first 5 of this season until Calgary.
Coming in switch now. Switch backside 1260.
Wow.
Landed perfectly high. Into the cab double cork 1080, sending, and ends with the double cork 1260.
Okay. The frontside invert.
The best one we've seen.
Yeah, his thumb was over coping. The best one we've seen all day. The switch back 5 on the fly out, insane. Followed by the best 22-foot section I've seen today. That's got to be your new leader. I mean, Scotty James
Watch this.
utilized every single piece
Perfect.
of both sections.
Switch back 5, and then does the half cab in. Coming in switch, and this is his bread and butter right here. The switch backside 1260, just landing perfectly at the top of the transition. There's the cab double cork 1080, and then ends with a front side double cork 1260 and puts it down.
I mean, Sal was saying earlier that he's just been so dominant. In the history of halfpipe riding, there are a few riders that stick out in terms of dominance. Terje Haakonsen, Danny Cass, Shaun White, Scotty James. The run that he's been on is reminiscent of Shaun in the mid-2000s, Danny at the turn of the century, and Terje in the 90s. They're just unstoppable. When they show up at an event, the minute they don the bib, everyone else is like, we got to beat that guy. That is Scotty James.
Yeah, and all those athletes that you mentioned all end up being kind of on their own island. Because when you're winning so consistently, it's not as easy for you to be like, hey, what's up? There's a little bit of that thing that happens. And Scotty, he's one of those people who he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see on Sunday, the red gloves are coming on.
Yep.
I'm here for one reason. I'm not here to have a good time. That's a byproduct of being able to win. Speaking of a good time, this is what the US Open is all about. Just poach party.
Running wild in that bad boy.
As we watch the joy of the Burton US Open poaching, let's check in on the headset with the one and only Scotty James. YouTube star first, professional snowboarder second.
That's thank you. That's a nice compliment. I'm out here trying, but I'm succeeding at YouTube at the moment, I guess.
That looked like you had a lot of fun, Scotty. We heard you speak at the beginning about how this type of setup really is that throwback to what snowboarding took in the old days. Like, there weren't the airbags, etc. Like, you had to come and learn how to do these kind of tricks on snow. How much fun is it for you on this setup?
Yeah, it's amazing setup, and I think these kind of courses really embody true snowboarders. I mean, I could probably tell you the day I learned a frontside invert, and it was when I was back in Australia having fun in the pipe, and now we're using them in a competition here at the US Open, and there's a lot more that goes into these events than just that 5-hit combo that we work so hard for. There's a lot of, you know, you got to be diverse and you've got to have a lot of board control, air awareness, and this field is pretty much stacked full of that. So it's very cool to see this transition in snowboarding.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time on the headset, sir. And we will see you on your second run. And look, listen, we're not going to lie. We're looking forward to red gloves on Saturday. Come on.
I'm looking forward to them too. And Sal, as you would say, you know, I'm really looking forward to the dance on Saturday. So bring it on.
Yeah, Scotty. Well done, my man.
Good run.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, sir. He's another one of those sort of statesmen for the sport.
Yeah.
You know, it's not everybody gets it, but he gets it at that next level. And there he is, Scotty James, in first place, first person to take out Rikai Tait. There's our 10 as we have it, but remember, we're going to do this whole thing again.
Yeah, and going back to Scotty's dominance, I mean, this is prototypical Scotty James behavior. You come out, you put down a score in the high 80s or the low 90s, and you just kind of sit in first place all day and you say, come and get me.
Yeah.
Let's see who's got it.
And we know that he did not do all that he came to do, that he's just deliberate about his practice when it comes to all this. Scotty James is in first place. We'll see if he can hold on and qualify first. Come on back for run number 2 at the Burton US Open.
From underground activity to Olympic sport.
It's hard to explain, you know, you don't get it from anything else. Maximum adrenaline filled with maximum like happiness and relief.
Jump into the world of snowboarding. Terminology, tricks, and how it all began. See spectacular runs and meet the big names in history. The ABC of snowboarding, now available on Red Bull TV.
Bobby Brown doesn't need an introduction.
Yes, dude.
The free skiing sensation searches for the ultimate line on skis around the globe. Together with his friends. Dynamic Medium. Now available on Red Bull TV.
3 locations, 3 disciplines, and some of the best snowboarders.
To have an experience like this together is like magical. Like, I'm the luckiest person in the world, really.
Mark and Craig explore the evolution of snowboarding in this series with Eero Eitala, Travis Rice, and a bunch of young guns. Brothers McMorris. Now available on Red Bull TV.
You are looking live at beautiful Vail, Colorado on day 2 of the Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships. And you are looking at a glorious, innovative superpipe this year in 2020. And we are just loving the dance between both sections. We welcome in the one and only Tina Dixon, former X Games gold medalist. Tina, what's your assessment today?
This is fun. This has actually been really fun to kind of be on the other side and watch you guys and watch the event and really try and dissect everything. I do like that 13-foot pipe because I think it's more relatable. I mean, when you get into a 22-foot pipe for your very first time, you're like, this is big. I don't know how to handle this. And so a 13-foot pipe, I think, gives those riders a chance who have never even been in a pipe to, like, let's start to fill that out.
Yeah, and what this pipe really does is showcase the overall progression of snowboarding in the halfpipe over the years.
I think a lot of the riders' priorities these days with the courses is try to just make them as fun as possible and change things up. Being here at the US Open allows us to play around with different designs. This year at the Open, we're bringing in a modified pipe. We're also changing up slopestyle quite a bit. We actually only have 1 jump on this course. The rest of them are transition features, and of course we have our 3 set of rails throughout the course as well. So the riders are gonna have to really kind of change up their routine to be able to get through this course. So with the modified pipe coming in this year, we have a 13-foot pipe leading into a 22-foot pipe. This is gonna bring out a lot of different style. We've got the tombstones. You're gonna see hand plants, some big methods on the little 13-footer. And in the 22, we're gonna see awesome runs. So in the spirit of Jake Burton this year with these courses, we have a lot of stuff that's similar to when the US Open first began. Jake was always into just cruising around, having fun, and not really so worried about the spins and what line people were gonna take, and just having more of a free flow feeling this year, I think is gonna be really awesome. So a lot of the reasons we're able to get these courses built the way we are is because of all the new advances with our tools. Piston Bully supplies us with awesome machines, and they work with us really well of trying to develop a new product, just setting cats up different for what we're doing. I think Jake would be really stoked with what we've done and what we're trying to pull off here this year. Making snowboarding fun again and having it not feel like this big contest anymore, allowing so many different styles of riding to come into play has really been awesome to see.
Shout out to the SBT crew, and I love what he said. Like, it's about showing the variance of what snowboarding is. And Louis, I know for all of us, you watch that footage of the early days of the Open, and it just makes you feel some kind of way.
It makes you honestly kind of get the chills because you're part of something, like it's history, it's legendary, and I keep saying that because that's what it is. Like, I grew up watching it, I've been a part of it. Now I'm sitting here with you guys hosting it. It's just to be part of something so magical, really.
Yeah, we're just all caught up in our feelings right now.
Yeah.
Louis.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
what I was going to say, what I think is really cool too, is not only is this half pipe the most innovative we've ever seen, it complements the slopestyle course, right? That thing is so unorthodox and so innovative, and it just changes the whole aspect of this year's US Open. It's almost a retrospective, a celebration of how far snowboarding has come from, the late 80s to 2020.
True. Louis, thank you for hanging with us.
Thank you for having me. It has been an eventful day. I can't wait to see the adjustments made by some of these riders going into run number 2 because it's going to get even better.
All right, we bring in Tina. She's going to take over for Louis, and we will head back up to the top of the pipe for run number 2.
Yeah, this kid right here, Finn Bullock Womble, coming out of Orlando, Florida.
I mean, it's a snowboarding epicenter, T-Bird. The elevation high.
This kid is 15 years old, the Junior Jam winner.
And how's that, to be a Junior Jam winner, and they're like, oh, congratulations, you won the Junior Jam. Now you get to go mix it up at the highest level.
You're technically dropping after Scotty James's first run.
Yeah, no pressure.
Frontside lip slide on the tombstone into the alley-oop. As Finn's gonna make his way into the megalith of the 22-footer. Frontside 12, and Finn goes down, but what a showing from the youngster from Florida. And something tells me, guys, I don't think that's the last we've seen of this kid. I think we're gonna be calling his runs for a couple of years moving forward.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's a moment like he's never going to forget. I was 14. I won the Junior Jam, and I got to go and like take a run right after Scotty James.
Yeah.
Well, and you speak of the Junior Jams and Scotty James. Scotty James actually came through those Junior Jams, and look at where he is now.
Yeah.
Hey, look at who's sitting with us now. Hello, Terje Haakonsen. How are you?
Pretty good. It's been better, but I'm good. It's always somebody has it worse, right?
Yes.
So I got a couple of injuries, so. But yeah, it's a little healing time, and then I can ride again.
What have you been up to the last couple of months?
I've been trying to, work on the Burton movie. I'm
Yep.
doing filming, but it's been going a little slow. I have a little pinched nerve in my neck, so it's going to take a little longer than I thought. So it's been going a little slow. Yeah.
Well, regardless, we're happy that you're in one piece and that you're healing, and we get to take advantage of having you here, especially at this U.S. Open, as we are celebrating the one and only Mr. Jake Burton. We just got word that Valentino Guseli got hurt on his first run. He's not going to take it.
Yep.
So we're going to head back up to the top with Nick Baden.
T, you ever lap with Baden? Have you ridden with Nick much?
No, I haven't.
He's a fun rider to watch, man.
Yeah, so it's his first run, and he has speed, and he's trying to do stuff different.
That's a good way to put it. He does, when he rides, he rides fast. Whatever he's dropping in on, he's going full speed. Nice little alley-oop off the tombstone. Just working his way through that 13-footer there. I just like his approach. I like the mentality.
Yeah, the fact that he's here in the half-pipe riding.
Oof. Yeah, straight to the flat there. And that alley-oop back rodeo.
Dancing with danger.
Anything you saw in run 1 that stood out to you?
No, well, he did his first tricks better on this one, but like an Argarial should be kind of easy for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if these guys ride smaller pipes or do hand plants anymore.
That's an interesting thing, right? As we were talking about, a lot of these kids in here, especially if you're looking at the 18, 17, 16-year-olds, I don't think they were born when they were 13 foot
I
pipes.
actually wish I had a bib number right now.
I was thinking that.
I know.
What about overall in the first run total? Did you watch the event? And
I watched most of them. I think still people, when they come to the end and there's still a wall left, do another trick, add it up, and they just do that carve. They don't even do a hand plant or a slash. They just, and they can actually do air. You have so much speed, you can do air up the pipe. Not alley-oop, but alley-up.
Yeah.
And that's possible. And we used to milk the pipe to the smallest little wall in the back in the day, just to get more hits, more riding.
Speaking of more riding, Ben Ferguson has been spending a lot of time more riding in the backcountry as he heads into this U.S. Open.
It's been nice to get out of the backcountry for a little bit and get back into the half pipe. Definitely been working really hard up in Canada all year, and it's nice to come to Vail, see my buddies, and get to ride some half pipe. It's kind of refreshing. It's just a really fun week. And if I was going to choose one contest, it would definitely be the U.S. Open. So I'm stoked to be here.
Echoing the words of Red Gerard, who's been spending a lot of time filming as well.
Yeah, that word refreshing, I think, hits the nail on the head. When you have that much time in the backcountry and then you come back to a contest, I mean, you have to remember Ben was a really tough half-pipe competitor, and then he took that time back into the backcountry.
I mean, yeah, you look at what he did, and likewise with Red and Sage Kotzenberg and Brock Crouch and Nick Baden, what those dudes did, transitioning from being some of the best competitive snowboarders on earth to some of the best backcountry riders on earth in that short a period of time, it just speaks to Ben's natural ability.
Yeah.
There you go, T.
Yeah, and that was a frontside alley-oop frontside air, not an indie.
Yep.
Nothing on a frontside spin or a thing is not an indie.
That's
so
right.
let's just get that clear.
Yep.
So
back you on that.
It was a little upgrade from his first run. His Argarial was more on the coping.
Yep.
I think he should have used the mini pipe for one more hit. He only got 2.
Yeah, most riders have been getting 2, and then maybe potentially one of those flyouts, but
yeah, and I wouldn't speed check right here in front of his crippler because he got that on dial. But I probably think he went for he wanted to get the points and try to make the final. So, and here there's not really a wall, but he's still doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leading up to this contest, had not even ridden a half pipe since July.
Since July.
Since July.
Wow.
And Ben Ferguson, he'll end up in 14th place. Ben, I don't think I have the comp for this, but I'm going to make some phone calls. I want to get you in the final. I want to see you in there myself.
So, Terje, for you, mini pipe, you think 3 hits?
Well, I'm sure somebody can get 4 if you do different tricks.
Right.
And, I haven't ridden the setup, so I can't really claim what I could do or what I would see, you know, but
we can claim for you. We know it'd be rad.
There'd be a hand plan in there.
Liam Tourki is coming in next from New Zealand. Excuse me, from France.
Yeah, this kid is, he's a pretty incredible snowboarder. I like this line here, the ollie up, little 50-50 on the tombstone. As Liam's making his way into the 22-footer, little backside air into the pipe. Frontside 1080 into the cab 1080, so back-to-back 10s. And then a frontside 9, but he goes down in the flat bottom. He was putting one together, young Liam Tourki. I like what he's bringing to the table here at the US Open in 2020. So Terje, tell us a little bit about the Burton movie.
Well, you know, every other year Burton does their own movie.
Yep.
You know, they sponsor a lot of different movies. So you have, like, you know, in the snowboarding industry, you have different teams. You know, the magazine will do one, companies will do one every other year.
Yep.
And this year it was time to make a Burton movie.
Cool.
Again, I think 212, Standing Sideways was the last one.
I think so. It's been like 7 years
Yeah,
since
so it's
Burton
been a
came
while,
out with a feature-length film.
So there's, you know, there's a new blood of directors and producers.
Very cool. Yeah, I've heard some behind-the-scenes stuff about it. It's called One World.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a heater. I think it's going to be in contention for Movie of the Year.
I know that you have worked so hard to keep your body in shape. Your nutrition is always optimal so that you can continue to enjoy and love this. But what are the challenges like as you get older in keeping yourself healthy and recovering and being able to ride at the highest level, especially when it comes time to go back out and film?
Yeah, it's just with everything. It's discipline. Because if you slacken the discipline, then you fall a little bit back. And I think with age, it takes a little longer to heal and do certain things. So I had my first meniscus scope before Christmas. I'm going to have one next week because I need to heal my neck, so I'll just do the other one. It's small stuff compared to a lot of other people have been doing.
Right.
And yeah, it's the discipline you got to have. I think food is at least 60% of being, you know, like in good shape. And then, you know, I do small stuff to strengthen small muscle we don't really use. And I do yoga a lot, and that's the stuff that builds up. And all the fun stuff breaks you down, but that's what you live for. So you got to do the boring stuff.
What's your cheat meal day looking like, though? You ever sneak a bag of Skittles on a plane or some Sour Patch Kids?
Yeah, I don't weigh my food or count my calories. But, you know, in a way, I'm pretty picky.
Josh Bowman heading into the 22-footer right now.
Going for that front 12,
60.
and that's the one that he had trouble on in the last run, too. Louis Vito called it. This kid goes 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye. Goggle lens flew out there.
Looked like he took that one to the chin.
Yeah, I wish I saw the hips were really steep, though, because then you don't lose too much pipe, and you actually get really big airs on the hips.
Yeah.
I know they frighten some people, but it is snowboarding. And that's what you think, like, oh, Ben hadn't ridden a pipe contest or a pipe in so long, but he snowboards. He's a good snowboarder, and that you read the terrain and then you ride it. You know, I'm sure some of these coaches are confused. Oh, there's a small pipe. What are we going to do? Our trick list. Oh, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And then, like, oh, you actually have to think for yourself and improve and, like, see what the other guys are doing and try to up the ante. And that's freestyle, and that's, like, you know, like people like, oh, you allow you to be creative. Yeah, you know, throw that trick list away and look at the terrain and ride after the terrain.
Yep. So Josh Bowman, unfortunately, that will not be enough to get him up into the top 10.
Jake Pate's coming in next from Eagle, Colorado. Went down on the 1080 in his first run, but he looked like, I mean, you called it, like this is a dude that you feel like could make the final easily.
Yeah, this kid's got something special. He's got great style. That's where it went wrong for him in run 1.
Where do you see here, Terje?
Well, I think it just took off before he was top of the lip, and that's, you know, that's the risk. If you wait long, you land better. If you pop too early, you normally land flat.
Yeah.
And those little, like, the pipe riding is more than just doing the tricks. It's actually between the walls. It's like riding is how you ride between the walls and how much you drift down for certain tricks and how high you go for them.
Edge control in the flat bottom. Jake Tait's on course. Front lip on the tombstone.
Backside 720, coming in with a ton of speed to this first hit. And he just tones it down, goes frontside 900 instead.
Double Michael Chuck. That right there was a run from Jake Tait's. I like his first hit in the 22-footer. He scaled it back. It's semifinals, trying to get into that top 10. And then if he does, in fact, make it into the Saturday's big show, you're going to see a much bigger run from Jake Tait's.
Yeah, it was 2 good moves in the small section, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he used that hip, too, before dropping in, so really utilized
He actually
that
wished that hip was actually like a quarter pipe.
Yeah.
Because he had speed and he wanted to go big on it, but you can only do that kind of air, you see. That one, he could have like flew bigger than some of the normal airs. In the past, we had hips, and that would be the biggest air of the run sometimes.
But he scaled that trick down.
He did. He went for the 12 last time, kept it at 9, went for the double Michael Chuck. And there's the frontside 1080 double cork.
And what was nice, I mean, that was just as high as those first tricks in that 22-foot wall pipe.
If there's one thing to describe Jake Tait's snowboarding, it's keeping speed.
83.6.
Wow.
Straight to the front row.
So he took a line somewhat similar on the other side, but somewhat similar to Scotty James, utilizing that hip and then dropping into the pipe.
Well, that's what he needed to do, and he executed perfectly. So Jake looking safe. As Joey Okesson sitting in 17th, gets the high five from JJ Thomas.
And I feel it's kind of important to note that the light has, in fact, changed out there a little bit. The sun has kind of gone away. We got a little bit of cloud cover moving in.
Here he goes,
and we'll see how, if at all, it affects these riders in their second run. Switch frontside 7 there. Transferring into the 22-footer. A massive double crippler into the backside 900. Once he got on this third and final hit. Frontside 1080, Joey Okesson puts it down, currently sitting in 17th place with a score just above 50.
Yeah, you got like amplitude. He was definitely going on that first hit. And yeah, he was using the tranny, like that first little backside hip to get that speed.
There's that cab 720. That double crippler was pushing 18 feet out of that 22-foot pipe.
I like the way he recovered too, as he came across the flat bottom on that after that first wall. He got a little hung up, but it didn't stop him.
And every year, it seems like at the US Open, in both slope and half pipe, there's always that one kid that sneaks in, and it kind of serves as their big introduction to the snowboard world. I'm very interested to see if Joey Okesson will become that kid.
Well, and with this format, too, it does open up for someone that maybe does not do as well in the traditional half-pipe contest, but knows how to ride slope, knows how to ride pipe. Hey, I know how to ride a 13-foot half-pipe,
Because you got the tombstones, you got the flyouts.
Yeah.
I was saying those flyouts to the cat pod landing, it looks like a slope-style jump from yesterday. It's the same setup. So it definitely caters to a rider who can do it all.
78.1.
Yeah, when every pipe is the same, it's normally the same results.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see that in skateboard and surfing. You have different parks and different waves.
Well,
Every wave is different.
well said, sir. Well, Joey Okesson in 4th right now. A lot of dudes on the outside looking in, a lot of pressure in this second run. Everybody wants to come to the dance on Saturday in this final. Can Christoph Lechner get it done?
I like that little 50-50 to fakie there off the tombstone into the switchback 5. Starting things off with a front 12. Into a backside 900. Christoph Lechner came to play in run 2 and caught the deck on that double cork right there. That is one of the scariest ways you can fall in all of snowboarding.
That one taxes you.
That one hurts.
The coping always hurts. That's the scary thing about halfpipe, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people do that pop early, so they do land flat.
Yeah.
You know, that's so separates a little bit, but that's a risk factor.
But do you think that's a natural thing in humans just to kind of pop early when you start riding a half pipe? I mean, because the trick really with those 22-foot walls, especially in the 13-foot walls, you kind of have to force yourself, right, to work harder. And then those 22-foot walls, you sort of just have to wait.
And that kind of what separates. It's more risk to wait longer because you're going to go higher, but you're also going to land better if you do make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the front side corks here, you know, they go higher on the normal airs, but at the same time when they land on their heel edge, and then they got to go over to toe edge. So it's kind of like
scrub speed.
Yeah. So I would, if I would judge, I almost like count that in for like a flow of riding.
Yeah.
Well, nice to see that Christoph was standing on his own merit and didn't fully deck himself.
He was putting one together though.
Yeah.
He was looking really good.
Next up is Jack Coyne.
All right, Jack Coyne getting ready to drop in for his second run here in halfpipe semifinals. Frontside invert on the tombstone. Into the alley-oop switchback rodeo.
So dropping and switch here. Ooh, switch Michael Chuck.
I like that. Tab double cork 1080, just not quite enough speed. And he popped a little bit too early and couldn't quite get it all the way around. Good showing from Jack Coyne.
18 years old, from Vail, Colorado, out here in his half pipe.
Hometown kid.
Yep.
Well, no doubt, Jack stoked on the experience. At home, probably want a little bit more, but that's how you learn. You gotta experience a little bit of failure. Kaishu Nakagawa.
Kaishu Nakagawa, part of the Japanese contingent that is currently taking over the entire snowboard scene in slopestyle and halfpipe.
Yeah, and Louis made a couple good points, and Terje, you referenced this earlier, that halfpipe riding it's between the walls.
Well, you don't really get judged for what you do between the walls, but that's like the technical aspect of it, how you can handle, like, or how you carve, what time you pop on, how much speed check you're doing.
Yep. It pretty much dictates what you do in the air, what you do in between the walls. Nice little alley-oop there, so getting 2 hits in that 13-footer. Coming into the 22-foot section of this modified pipe. Holy cow, frontside 14. That was insane. Into the cab 7, and then the frontside 12. What?
Well, he can spin.
Can you think of a
spin,
more...
but did he grab the last spin?
Of course, that's something to look at. That goes to execution. I mean, his trick difficulty score is probably going to be really high. Those are hard tricks to do. But when you're talking overall impression, you have to factor in all the small little intricacies of the tricks that you are doing.
Snowboarding, we do have straps, so you should be able to grab that thing.
And that grab, I will say there was a little, that was outside the bindings.
Yep.
That was a Tindy. Let's address that.
Quote of the event: snowboards have straps, you should be able to grab. Yeah,
and in fact, he did not grab his snowboard there. I mean, let's be real, it's an incredible physical feat.
Yeah, he's a samurai and he spins really fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's going to come with time. That's going to come with more time on board riding half pipe. Awesome showing from Kaishu Nakagawa. Good on you, buddy. 18th place here at the Open.
Head back up to Lucas Foster from Telluride, Colorado. Currently in 29th.
Do you think we can talk him into making steep hips on the mini pipe till Saturday?
Oh, between now and the final?
I mean, I know one person in the studio that probably has the clout. And I'm not pointing at anybody but Terje.
I mean, I know they've been making adjustments all week.
Yeah, it's just snow.
You got a practice day tomorrow, so.
All right, Lucas Foster coming into his first hit on the 22-footer frontside 900.
Into a backside 1260.
Oh!
And sits down on that last trick.
That was a front 10, if I'm correct, right? That was spun crazy. That was a really, really interesting spin that he had there to end that run.
And Lucas kind of demoed the mini pipe.
He rode, like in the big pipe, I thought he landed good and he had high airs.
Terry, let me ask you a question. So we were talking earlier real quick about just the international field here at the US Open, especially in halfpipe. I'm not seeing any Norwegian halfpipe riders. Is there a next generation of Norwegian pipe rider that's coming up? Or are they focusing, because they're all over the slopestyle scene, right? Their slope scene is very, very strong.
You know what they did in Norway? The Norwegian Snowboard Federation did?
No.
They took our... What do you call it? Big pipes? Super pipes?
Super pipes.
They took the super pipe and they have 2 big airs there now for 2 years in a row.
Really? So they are focusing on slopestyle and big airs?
Well, I don't know. Like if they, like every nationalistic national team love their gold medals, and if you want to like get good riders, you need to have a half pipe. Just
There
look
you
at
go.
Switzerland. Look at America.
Yep.
Jason Wallet.
So it's a little sad because, and I also think hopefully we'll see like a little more smaller pipe, 18 foot, 12 foot.
Yeah.
And that helps too.
Yeah.
If you're like a Grom and you have 22-foot pipes, it's pretty
intimidating.
And that's what I was saying earlier. You get in those 22-foot pipes and you're like, I don't know how to do this. It's just so big.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to handle yourself between those walls.
Yep.
Well, maybe this 2020 U.S. Open is going to force mini pipes to start popping up all across the country.
Would love to see that.
I would love to see that.
Selfishly, I would love to see it, yeah. So Jason Wole on course. Nice little backside air entering the 22-foot section of this modified pipe into a front side 900. And then the double Michael Chuck slipping out on his heels, and it does look like that rider's right side of the wall is getting pretty icy with this light change.
Yeah.
Flat light is not easy.
We were dealing with it yesterday in slope style, and all the riders said it's some of the hardest conditions to ride it.
Like I said yesterday, if you want to be a billionaire, solve the flat light issue. Come up with the thing that makes it non-existent.
We moved in a movie light on the quarter pipe one time, and the movie light was so hot it started melting one side of the wall. But it really worked on the flat light. We really solved the problem.
Yeah.
We just got this huge, big movie lights right on the quarter
And
pipe.
just blasted it.
Yeah, and that worked.
Could be something there.
Yeah, be harsh for the half pipe.
Don't bring your yellow lenses
can't
to that.
see. All right, this next rider, Rikai Tait, was our leader for most of run 1. The first real solid full pull. Currently in 3rd place.
He was the first rider I saw that really utilized that mini pipe, or the 13-foot pipe and the 22-foot pipe, and was creative and did different lines.
Yeah.
I like to put it as every run 1 has a tone setter.
Yeah.
And this is the guy right here. Rikai Tait set the tone, set the bar for the remaining riders in run 1, and I feel like it just ups the level of round 1.
Absolutely.
So there's that McTwist off the tombstone into the backside alley-oop. And I don't think this is going to be as successful as a run as his first one. But right now, you think about it, sitting in third place, Rikai Tait's feeling pretty comfortable where he's at. There you got the inverted switch frontside 7, also known as the Haaken flip.
Well, I wonder who came up with that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's named that.
What an interesting name.
I didn't see his first run, but doing the McTwist off the tube stone is a lot of vert.
Yeah.
And he was a little flat, but he landed really good. That's like a hard trick because when you have a lot of vert on the small wall, you can't pop anything.
Yeah.
And I thought that was technical. And he also did like a 360 in on that mini hip into the...
Terje, can you give us a little behind-the-scenes info on the naming of the Haaken flip? What happened there? What went down?
I was just going to ask that.
The upside down cab. Brushy. I don't know if I told you before, but yeah.
Okay.
Brushy just started calling. We're in the quarter pipe in Black Cove, 91.
Yep.
It's in Pocahontas, MacDog Productions.
Yep.
Legendary film.
And it was basically like doing, an upside down cab. You know.
Cool.
And yeah, the first one I did were horrible, ugly, no grab or nothing, but Brushy called it just a Haaken flip.
Well, glad to solve that one. I didn't know that story. Toby Miller, he's loving the mini pipe, and he talked to us gave us his perspective on it.
You're going to see a lot of creative stuff you wouldn't normally see them do in a traditional competition because they're able to actually perform it on the mini pipe. So I'm trying to do some butters into some variations of alley-oop rodeos and stuff in the mini pipe while trying to maintain speed and carry that into the big pipe to where you can perform your bigger tricks such as 1080s, 1260s, and potentially 1440s. But it's going to be really, really fun. I'm excited.
Think Toby Miller likes snowboarding?
I think he does.
Yeah,
I think Toby Miller likes a lot of things. Pretty much everything.
I'm glad to see him competing this year. Last year he missed this US Open. He actually was on set with us during the finals, helping us call the runs.
I'm glad he's competing this year, too, because I don't want him stealing my job in the booth. Kid's a good announcer. So currently sitting in 8th place. Right now, 8th place is not a spot that I want to be in the second of a 2-run semifinal. Nice little alley-oop stall on the tombstone. Nollie front flip, fly out to the cat paw. This is where things get pretty crazy for Toby Miller. There's that frontside double cork 10. Into the cab double cork 10. Will we see the 12 or the 14?
Oh my God.
That is not what you want to see. Going all the way to the flats.
Yeah, definitely sending it.
You heard, you could hear the impact from his body there. And of course, we have a great medical staff that is going to go straight up and attend to him. But that's the criticality that we talk about with the precision necessary in halfpipe.
It's literally a game of inches. When you're going 20 feet out of a 22-foot pipe, the margin of error is so slim.
Yeah, when the 22-foot pipes are like, I was an advocate of making the pipes bigger, but at the same time, like, it made pipe a little more scary. That's why slopestyle is more popular, I think.
Yeah.
It's easier. It's way more risk to ride a halfpipe than a slopestyle.
Yeah.
In certain aspects, I'm
Absolutely.
not saying they're not charging slopestyle or anything.
Yeah.
But just the way of the riding and that coping you have on the 20-foot wall.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between, when I'm at a mountain, there's a 22-footer, and you just kind of ride the walls and have fun and get some speed to what these guys are doing. I mean, it's a terrifying game sometimes. It really is.
And when you're spinning like that, all those rotations and going upside down and, spinning flat as well, you even have one moment of getting lost, then you can't open up to figure out where the wall is, and then you've got the combination of flat light as well. I mean, it's really easy to be up there and just one little moment, and you can get lost.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to really react really quick. I thought like ESPN or XGame would have some sports sign on this. They're really good at putting, perspective and comparing it to other sports, the impact they compared a couple of times with like, when they land, how much the stuff they get. And I rode here last year, didn't do a lot of spins, but I thought it was still difficult to just, you know, the walls come up really quick.
Yeah.
And when you do back-to-back spins, you definitely have, you know, definitely orientation in your head that you got to comprehend with.
Well, there's a shot of Toby Miller, and you can see he is feeling it. We had him on headset after his first run. You know, all this enthusiasm, so fired up to be here. You saw on that, so fired up to be here. You saw on that piece how excited he was for this format. He's got the thumbs up. It's going to be all right. And we'll be back with the rest of our second runs after this little break.
In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks.
Join the founder of Protect Our Winters, Jeremy Jones, and 2-time Olympic halfpipe competitor Elena Tait on their expedition into the High Sierra. This is not a typical snowboard movie. This is an ode to Muir. Now available on Red Bull TV.
Dive into the world of Red Bull TV, your daily source for action sports, music, and entertainment. Download the Red Bull TV app for free and sign in to watch all of our content offline. Get the Red Bull TV app now. Zion Wright, Jamie Foy, and Alex Midler hit the roads to find some of the best skate spots in the world. What looks easy can sometimes be hard.
You're good.
They ended up with an outstanding skateboard movie. You good? Now available on Red Bull TV.
Welcome back to the Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships. We're in the semifinals of men's superpipe. You just saw Toby Miller from Truckee, California take a hard slam. We did see him walk off on his own power, and we'll get you an update on him. There he is. It's looking like he's pretty much sore, but of course, they'll do their best to give him a full evaluation, make sure he's all right, because on a slam like that, anything is possible.
Yeah. You know, when he was putting it together, I feel like Toby's all-encompassing riding from the 22-foot section to the mini pipe, he's just having fun out there. He's having a blast with it. And I think he could have been in the top 10. Unfortunately, you know, it's an inevitability for many, but it also just goes to show what they're true warriors out there, these guys and girls.
Yeah.
I mean, to get up from that and walk away, heavy.
No joke. That is not a soft landing.
Yep.
Toby was one of those riders that we heard talk about how much he was excited about that 13-foot mini pipe. We've seen all sorts of performances. So we put together a little package. Terje, take us through some of these, the usage of this mini pipe, especially starting up on that tombstone.
Wall ride. That one I like. Gariel on that tombstone, that's pretty hard. This is pretty creative too.
Yeah, it's just upping the creativity, right? It's providing the riders more options to just put together a more complete
I just
run.
feel like they could have do 3 or maybe 4 hits in that mini, because they all speed check after the mini pipe anyway.
Yep.
So they have enough speed to do whatever they want in the bigger part.
One thing I will note, your current leader, Scotty James, this is the one thing that stuck out to me. The frontside invert that Scotty James did on that tombstone, thumb over coping. I really feel like it was the small little things in Scotty's run like that put him in that 89.66 first place position.
So in the Arctic pipe in 2014, yeah, we had the tube stones in the big pipe.
Yep.
And the first days, everybody was intimidating. But after a while, we're like, Danny was doing frontside inverts on them, and you can air out of them, and we got a couple of mailboxes and some gaps. And in the beginning, it's definitely intimidating in the big pipe.
Right.
So
we'll head back up to the top for Chase Blackwell's run, and we can see those flags moving a little bit, something to pay attention to. A little bit of more wind this afternoon.
Yeah, a little bit of a front rolling in, a little bit of cloud cover.
Now, if you're Chase Blackwell, who's on that bubble spot at 10, you want this run to do some things for you.
Yeah, you want to kind of go pedal to the metal here. You want to give yourself 5-6 spots improvement here to get a little buffer heading into the finals. So frontside 540 off the tombstone into that backside 3 fly out. Nice little backside air into the pipe.
that was the Indy.
Front double 10 into the cab 10. Into the front side 900, so cleaning it up significantly. That was a good run from Chase.
That was good landings. You know, you can see you land on the top part of the pipe.
Yep.
Did it Indy into the pipe. Wanted to have that steeper.
I think I see what you're talking about. There's an opportunity for almost like another wall. With a bigger hip at top.
And we had that in the past. We had like a Burton European Open 2001 or something.
Yep.
Arctic, we had them.
Yep. So there's that first front double.
Yeah, and pay attention to the grabs he does on these double corks. Right here.
Good amplitude.
And like you said, T, he's landing really high on that wall. And that translates into amplitude, right? Because you're taking more speed into the next hit, and you're gaining air rather than decreasing your air time hit to hit down the pipe.
And to Tina's point, like Chase is one of those people you're never going to have to question whether or not he grabbed his board.
Yeah, he did.
He not only does he grab, he tweaks everything out for life.
With both hands.
Yeah.
So currently sitting in 10th place with a 68.66.
I think that's going to be an improvement for
I think
him.
it is. Question is how much? I think right now, if you're in the top 5 spots, you're pretty comfortable. You're doing all right.
Yeah, you still have guys like Chase Josie, though, Taylor Gold,
Pat Burgener.
Yep. All sitting outside of that top 10.
What's it going to be?
Vast improvement. Blackwell put himself, you said he needed to put himself 3 or 4 spots up.
He's happy with that.
He does so in 6th. Little happy zone up top. As next up.
I like that little rally cry before battle.
Shuichiro Shigeno. And you gotta love the camaraderie of the Japanese. Like, they're just so down, all for one, one for all.
They're currently sitting in 5th place. And get this kid's 14 years old.
Yeah, that's great.
He might be going to US Open pipe finals at 14 years old. Alley-oop back rodeo. Into the little cab with a backside grab there.
Frontside 1260.
Wow.
Into the backside 900. And then the frontside double cork 1080.
It's a good run.
Yeah, in his first run, he said he was doing the cab to the method.
Yep.
Remember who did that first? The Simps video from 89 or 88, I think.
I mean, Kidwell.
Palmer.
Palmer.
The first guy I saw do it.
Really?
Yeah.
We need to have a session where we just take clips from movies and start watching them and
recreate them.
Exactly.
How's this little 14-year-old madman, though?
So what is interesting is he's certainly currently sitting in that top 10. One rider from Japan who's not in that top 10 right now is Yuto Totsuka. He still has yet to go, but...
And he's second to last.
Yeah.
14-year-old happiness. He'll stay in his same zone from his first run and looking pretty solid and safe.
Yeah, I think top 5 you're looking all right. But right now, if you're Swiss Dave, man, David Hablitzel, 10th place, that is a tough spot to be in run 2 of a 2-run semifinal.
Yeah, no pressure when you're taking the run literally for your life.
Yep.
To make the final. But these are the moments that these guys train for and you live for. I imagine like this is the kind of pressure you want to have sometimes in a situation like this.
Yeah, it definitely helps sometimes. When the weather changes and stuff, though, it can really mess some people up. There's a Lux product here, Swiss Lux.
Frontside invert into an alley-oop. Dropping into the 22.
Yeah, you said it. There's that speed check right before.
Back 9 into a frontside 1080 double cork. Into the cab 9. So a good run from David Hablitzel. Currently sitting on a first run score of 70.66. He's relieved. What do you think, Tina?
I want to watch these replays again because...
So I wonder if he rides the mini pipe in Lux. You know, it has the mini pipe and the big pipe next to each other.
Come on, what's that?
He did kind of miss that hand plant a little bit.
And then the little hand drag right there. And then the switch frontside 9 at the bottom.
Straight to the little tube ride. Pulled in at the end of the wall.
Was, yeah.
It's hard to be a judge, but sometimes when you really put in the risk and really send it with the amplitude and you have a little sketchy landing, you shouldn't be that much penalty for it.
Yeah.
Unless you land really flat, I think.
Good call.
Putting risk above.
Well, Swiss Dave is going to have to just sit and watch his fate in the hands of others as he was unable to change the situation. As Kwang Ki Lee from Pyeongchang, Korea, comes in next.
26-year-old goofy footer.
Just letting the credential fly out the back pocket for Steez.
The only rider here in semifinals representing Korea on the men's side. Just awesome to see the global impact of snowboarding, right? Back in the day, it was a couple Europeans, a couple Americans, Canadians. Now you got Japan, Australia, New Zealand. It's just such a cool thing to see.
A couple of technical little tricks. Using everything.
Literally using
everything.
Frontside 1080 there. Lacking a little bit in that amplitude and just landing a little bit in the back seat there.
Lost a little rhythm because he didn't get speed enough on his first hit.
Yeah. So Kwang Ki Lee, that'll do it for him. He's going to remain in 22nd place.
You know, he had a good showing here last year in 2019, if you remember.
Yep. That switch frontside 7, and you could tell as soon as he landed, he just kind of put his hands on his knees, and he knew he landed too far in the back seat. Didn't quite have the speed.
You gotta adopt when the speed. You can see, like in especially skateboarding, when they don't have the speed for big tricks, they can just do another lip tricks or something that can, like according to the speed they have. And it seems like when they're set with these runs and they lose a little speed, they still go for that, and it's hard to adjust to the middle of it, but that's, I think, what people have to do.
That ability to improv as Kaishu Hirano from Murakami, Japan.
Ayumu's younger brother.
So do you ever guys talk about when people have the goggles under the helmet?
Yeah, what's your take on that? It's interesting.
You can probably get a double impact when you have air in. You know when you have a car seat and you just locked into it? If you have the helmet fit on your head, you get less impact. Like sometimes you get more impact when you have air in the helmet.
Interesting.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, but people go for style points sometimes.
Oh, massive backside air from Kaishu Hirano.
With style.
Woo! And he goes down on the front 12. That backside air was one of the biggest I've seen today, though. That was insane. So unfortunately, he's currently sitting in 13th place.
Yeah, that's not going to do it, but I want to see that again.
That was stylish over that hip and then drops in.
There it is. It's the
Brother
trick of
should
all
be proud
tricks.
of that.
That's as good as you can do it.
Yep.
And then he's actually going for a frontside 1440 here.
Yeah, that kid spins fast.
I don't even know what that means.
I've seen him land that a number of times.
Young Kaishu. Plenty more to hear from him at 17 as he carries on the Hirano legacy. Another man from Vail, Mr. Ryan Wachendorfer, in that 25th position, wanting to get in. Who doesn't want to get in the finals where it's at?
On your home.
Here on Saturday at home.
Yep.
Make the final at home. Folks calling out your name that you knew and you grew up with.
Yeah, currently sitting in 25th place. Oh, and his hand slipped on the frontside invert.
Snow is slippery. That's some of the hardest thing with icy pipes, to do hand plant right on the coping.
I've seen a lot of riders struggle with it too. Frontside 9 into the double Michael Chuck. Landing a little bit too high, and unfortunately, Ryan Wachendorfer cannot quite.
If I do remember right, I think Jimmy Scott had studs in his gloves.
Did.
Right?
Yes. Really?
Yeah, and he did some of the best frontside inverts. He was really good at the lip tricks.
Wow.
And yeah, I remember like a couple of years he had this really studs that really grab the coping. Yeah.
They're in the sports stores next to the cleats.
He's probably watching from a surf camp in Costa Rica right now, going, Terje, but giving out my secrets.
Next year, Ryan Wachendorfer's going to show up. He's like, "Do you guys like my gloves?"
Some
Check them out.
studded gloves. Somebody's heading R&D right now with those. Captain Monochromatic, Style Master of the Universe, checking in for a tune right now. We're going 70s classic rock. Could be reggae. Could be anything.
I'm pretty sure it's rock and it's old.
Rock and it's old. For sure.
What does that mean?
Well, this is interesting right now because Danny Davis is currently sitting in 7th place on a first run score of 74.3.
Good, found the tranny. Thank you.
He said, "You want more walls in the mini pipe? Here I am. Tell you, I give you 3.
T, you asked for it. That's what you wanted. Back to back to back hand plants. Now dropping in switch. Switch method. Into the cab 1080. Into the front side double cork 1080. And landing a little bit flat. That run really had it all.
Yeah, that was good because I would probably done like 3 lip tricks, try to milk that pipe on the top, and he kind of did, and he found the tranny, even though that first tube stone, you got to get your hand way up and find the tranny. I think he just had a little, didn't have enough speed in some of those airs to make it like safer.
Yeah, it just landed a little heavy on that heel edge.
Saw him grab his derriere. Like maybe he got a little bit of impact, but for now, he's going to hope that 7th place holds. Haakon, thank you for coming in here and holding our feet to the fire.
Thanks for being here.
It's been awesome. Get better, and hope to see you the rest of the week.
Yeah, I might try to come back here on Saturday.
Yeah, come back in on the dance on Saturday. We
Yeah.
would love the energy. Maybe teach us about nutrition and while you're here.
More secrets to hand plants.
Exactly. With the gloves. As we head back up to the top at Derek Livingston from Aurora, Canada. This is his first time to the US Open. What does that mean to get invited to the greatest show on snow?
This year has been was my first year getting an official invite. I was always a wild card invite. I'd have to prove myself throughout the season, getting results at all the smaller events, trying to get the invite for here. And last year I was able to do really well and sit in top 10. So got the invite this year and I'm pretty hyped, doing interviews, getting to stay here with the rest of the crew of all the invited riders, and just being in this atmosphere is pretty awesome.
That's great perspective to get from him. I mean, you always think sometimes oh, I'm alternate, whatever, you're here. No, to be invited is here. And you heard him describe it. It changes everything, the way you're treated, who wants to talk to you, etc.
When you get that call or the envelope, whatever it is, the email, the text, whatever it is, you're like, I just got invited.
Yeah.
That is such a cool moment.
Derek Livingston on course, frontside alley-oop. Into a backside 5.
Ooh. Half cab in and makes it safely.
I love that backside 3 right there.
It's one of my favorite tricks on a skate vert or on a half pipe is that a beautifully executed backside 3.
And I like that method on the last hit. A lot of riders save their biggest tricks for the last hit. He just went big and did a method, and you heard it in the crowd. They were psyched to see that.
Oh, there's something about doing a method right at the end, and you're in the crowd and you watch that, and you're just like, I love half pipe riding.
It's so rad. So Derek Livingston, there's that back 5. You saw the little poke there. And then a tiny bobble right there. And you can tell the light is changing. It's getting harder to see. I bet a lot of the riders are changing their lenses from run 1, especially the riders going later in the afternoon.
So he spins switch backside on this. Scotty James, he spins a lot of switch backside, 1080s, 1260s. He goes switch backside 720 there.
I'm a firm believer that it is far and away the hardest way to spin in a half pipe. It is so blind.
And it's becoming one of those things, those riders who do not have it, it affects them.
It's an equalizer.
Yep.
Yeah, because the best rider in the world, the best pipe rider in the world right now, Scotty James, he planted his flag right in the soil and said, this is going to be, I'm doing switchback 12.
Catch me if you can.
Yep.
From Haley, Idaho, Chase Josie, right there. Had a couple little struggles in his first run, but we could see it was right there. He could definitely.
So Chase is really good at competitions like this in a half pipe where it's not the traditional. He won Red Bull double pipe when that came out.
Yep.
So he can absolutely do this.
Frontside invert into a switchback 5.
Swiss Dave will be watching this run closely as he sits in that 10th spot.
So the switch double Michael Chuck, and he sits it down.
And he never falls on those.
I was telling Louis and Sal when Louis was in here run 1, I think Chase Josie might be the most technically savvy rider in a half pipe. As far as technicality, trick difficulty, there aren't many that can keep up with him.
And then the way he puts it together, he puts combinations together on puzzle pieces. You're like, well, I didn't think that was going to go there.
It's almost like a modern day Elijah Teeter. Remember Elijah?
Yes.
Good call.
Yeah.
You love to see two things. One, Chase, you can appreciate just how stoked he is to be here, and that camaraderie from the rest of the competitors down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Taylor Gold, guy who's battled injury the last couple of years, came on the scene very, very young, an Olympian. Somehow or another, you look down at his name, and you're like, wait, he's 26 years old?
He's a US Open champion.
Yes.
Yes, he is. Yeah, sideline due to injury for a couple years there, but I mean, if I had to go, give out an award for like comeback athlete in the last 2 winners. It's Taylor Gold.
Oh, these last few months as well in the contests.
Yep.
But this type of run also suits his style of riding.
Switch crippler into a switch Michael Chuck.
You think he wants to make the final?
I think so.
Watch this.
There's a look at that.
Ooh, such a great McTwist. And then goes for the 1260, holds on.
Oh, come on.
And just right at the end, sits down.
He makes that, you got to think he's in, especially for that top half.
Especially, too, because that final hit was his biggest hit in the 22-foot section. He just went too deep.
Well, I love the fact that, you know, he made that adjustment coming off of that second wall. You could tell, like, oh, is he still going to chuck it?
But in terms of, like, the top section, he had it put together.
Yeah, he did. He really did. That's a beautiful McTwist, too.
So holds on to the front side 1260. Now, earlier this year, he did a new trick. It was a double Michael Chuck, and then he added that extra spin at the end, but he didn't do it there, and it looks like he just pushed out.
Absolutely.
You could see on that replay, just like you pointed out, just a little bit too much pop.
Yep.
Like he was amped.
He was amped. Yeah, it just pushed him into the flat bottom a little bit too much, and you know, it's like we were talking about when Terje was in here. It's literally a game of inches.
Well, and it's that balance, too, of when you're in that little half pipe, you almost have to pop, and then you get into the big pipe, and you're like, I just got to wait.
That's going to be a tough one to stomach because he lands that, and he's probably in the final. All right, Jan Scherrer. From Switzerland in 15th place.
Yeah, the final chance for Jan Scherrer here, coming in switch. Switch McTwist. Into the switch frontside invert. That was a beauty. That was a really good top section from Jan Scherrer. Now drop it into the 22-foot section of this modified pipe.
Big backside 900. Into the frontside double cork 1080. And the giant cab double cork
that was
1080.
Huge.
Wow.
That's going to be an improvement.
If you're David Hoblitzell right now, you're like, ooh, wow. I think I might have to give up this chair. That was huge.
That was insane. So Jan Scherer's first run score is a 57.66. The El Gariel right there, the switch frontside invert. That's a really cool looking back nine.
That was a great back nine. You're absolutely right. And the frontside double cork 1080. And then at the bottom, he does this switch frontside double cork 1080, and it's still just as high as the earlier tricks.
I was just going to say that, if not higher than his previous hit. The judges hold Jan Scherer's finals fate here in Vail, Colorado.
Is Swiss Jan going to take out Swiss Dave?
The fellow countrymen battling it out.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
That was a pretty undeniable run right there. Question is, how high on the leaderboard is Jan Scherrer going to go?
Pretty high.
Oh!
Jan Scherrer bounces up into third place.
So now that bubble is Toby Miller in that 10th position.
Now, Toby Miller, who I was just told was taken down to the medical center for a further evaluation from that slam. We'll get you more as we get information. You'd hope that he'd be able to, if he's okay and given clearance, that he'd be able to recover should he stay in to ride the final on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right now, 4 riders left to drop. 2 could bump Toby.
Pat Burgener in 25th place right now, one of those two.
And he's another rider that has some really big switch backside spins.
Yeah, this course is really catered to Pat Burgener's style of riding. So there's the El Gariel into the alley-oop rodeo. There's that nollie front flip. Been seeing a lot of those. Hey. When's the last time you called a nollie front flip in a pipe contest?
Just now.
Switchback 9 into the cab 10 double cork. It's going to come down to this. Pat Burgener puts it down. Front side 12 to end it. That was a good run.
That was a great run.
It was a really, really good run.
He's not excited at all about it either.
Okay, so Pat has, I think, the best like celebratory bottom of the pipe moments.
Yeah, he does.
It's kind of like in football when you make a touchdown. Pat Burgener has that.
The end zone dance.
Yeah.
Or end zone celebration.
I'm just waiting for like the backflip.
I wish we had more choreographed celebrations at the bottom.
So he starts out in the 22-foot wall pipe with that switch backside 9 and finishes off with a front side 1260. Keeps that hand off the snow.
I feel like this is a similar situation to what we just saw with Jan Scherrer. He went from 21st to 3rd. Pat Burgener's in 25th place right now. He's going to be in the top 10. That's a top 10 run right there.
He is.
The question is,
where?
Where? And what does that do to the rest of the field?
Didn't you say something earlier about his hair, Sal?
Oh, best hair.
Yes.
Went best hair all day.
That is a mane on that man.
I should see if Pat wants to do a musical collab. Maybe there's a Pat Burgener, Alakazam record to be made.
I'd stream
Ooh,
it. I'd
I
stream
would
it.
totally
I'd buy
stream
it.
that.
100%.
Oh, judges taking their time, but they
Wow.
drop it. Ooh!
Wow.
Look at that, back-to-back Swiss party. Look at that.
Second place, so unfortunately Toby Miller bumped out of the top 10, and it is Ruka Hirano on the bubble. Whew.
Ruka Hirano on the bubble and about to drop in. How's that?
Ooh, so sitting in 10th.
Fate is in his own hands.
It absolutely is. That is serendipity right there.
He's got to do something. It's the top pipe section that he needs to improve on.
As we welcome in Stan in the final drama moment, Stan.
Tense out there, just up top. Can't believe I just missed Pat Burgener going to second. That's incredible.
It was insane.
Wow.
His run was crazy.
Wow.
So Ruka Hirano coming into the 22-footer. Front side 12 into the backside 9. Look at how far he travels down that pipe. Into the front side double cork 1080, and he cannot hold his heel edge. So Ruka Hirano gonna stay in 10th. I think he improved in that top section.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And then obviously he fell on that bottom section. Now, there's only one rider that can knock him out, and it's his friend and countryman, Yuto Totsuka, who's sitting outside right now of that top 10.
Wow. Yeah, Danny Davis is safe. Chase Blackwell safe.
It's between Ruka and Yuto at this point.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. That's it. Stan, we were talking earlier about the difference in light and weather between run 1, run 2. We're in the booth and we can notice it. You're out in the field. What's it like out there?
Again, similar to yesterday, started with sun, pretty much perfect, ideal conditions, birds singing, and then T-birds singing, and then clouds, and then it even got a little colder. So I think that was definitely a little bit of an issue. I saw a lot of layer changing going on up there. It's kind of a mismatch. I think one of the big things that's been tough about this, though, is Obviously, in these new contests, we're seeing the overall impression judging, which is great. The time where it gets troublesome is if you do fall, it's hard to tell if the judges did like the top of your run or didn't. So that's one thing that the riders are kind of saying up top, like, we love the overall impression, but it is tough because we don't know what we would have, if they liked the top of our run or not.
We don't know if they, we don't know if they like that specific part.
Right. Because a lot of the falls are happening a little later on, so these riders are still searching for what those judges are looking for up top.
All right, well, here we are. Yuto Totsuka from Yokohama, Japan. He can knock out Ruka Hirano with a strong performance in this run. Nice alley-oop off that tombstone to start.
That was much better. He came out of that so clean.
He is hauling.
Wow.
Frontside double cork, 1260 into the giant backside rotation. And a frontside 1080.
That run was pure, was the purest flow from top to bottom.
Yes.
That I've seen. Maybe even Scotty James had it, but that was just perfect flow from top to bottom.
Yeah, because it's broken up into two sections, right? You can play the first 13-foot section of the pipe pretty slow and then pick up your speed in the 22. He kept a sustained speed throughout the entire run.
Incredible.
Look at the size of this 1260, where he lands on the wall. Into the backside 900. And what's crazy is this, the 22-foot part of the competition for him, these tricks, they're kind of conservative for him.
Yeah, you could see in the heading that last fall, he's like, I'm good.
He's like, I'll do a 1080, I guess.
Good. Let me just keep this nice and chill.
Yeah, I don't think it's going out on a limb to say that's a top 10 run right there.
For sure.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to say bye to Ruka Hirano.
But that combination from when he went to the 13-foot pipe, that backside 360, I mean, that was clean, and he came out of that perfect.
Yeah.
All of it was. I mean, that alley-oop off of the tombstone was money. Like, he landed perfectly in the transition and made it look like, made that transfer look like, oh, it's all one thing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Wow.
With room.
Quite the move.
With room for growth.
Yeah.
Totsuka into third place. How about the shakedown of that top 5 in the last 7-8 runs?
Yeah, so now Danny Davis is on the bubble. However, he's safe.
He's good.
Yeah.
That man right there. He's going to qualify first again.
Did you guys? I was going to ask you, did you guys talk about the frontside hand plant that he did on the tombstone? Because
thumb over.
Thumb over.
Thumb over.
One of the only riders that we actually saw full hand on the coping.
Yep.
I've never been one to be quicker to back something Scotty James did on that hand plant.
And now he's just going to flow it. He's just going to have a fun run. But yeah, that's the first thing I noticed when he did that frontside invert. He was the first and only rider in run 1 to go thumb over on that one tombstone.
Nice little switch backside air.
Imagine if this was your idea of a fun run. That sure would be nice, wouldn't it?
This is a last case scenario for me.
Just some mellow 15-foot airs.
This is my best day. I'm not showing up looking even remote half that even.
You know what? I've seen you in your glory, deep in the backcountry, sir.
Waving to the cam. He's got to be hyped up.
You know what's so chill about him is that wave to the camera was like, yeah. I thought you knew.
Hello, finals.
I thought you guys knew. Red Glove Saturday, game time.
Yeah.
He said it when we had him on the headset. He's like, I'm very much looking forward to putting on the red gloves.
Well, and it was quintessential, prototypical Scotty James dominance, right? He comes out, puts down an 89 point something, goes back to the top, and just watches everyone and says, like, come get me.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the rider that just finished outside of that top 10, number 11, Ruka Hirano, who was the rider that just beat Scotty less than 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Well, I like the way this story is unfolding. How about we get the man on the headset right now? Scotty James.
Hello.
We were saying that, you know, a casual, like, I don't have to do anything run. You're just throwing out, like, 15-foot switch backside airs just to say hello for fun.
Well, you know, I got to make the most of those opportunities to come down and do some stuff I enjoy. It's a pretty fierce battle out here. Obviously, I just overheard you guys, the Japanese, are riding really well, and I saw Pat land an amazing run, and everyone's bringing it. So nice to kind of enjoy that US Open run that on this qualifying day.
Yeah. Scotty, that switch method's got to feel good. Maybe on a scale from 1 to 10, how much better is that feeling than the high five down the deck?
I mean, 10 times better.
10 times better.
Yeah, the switch method is by far my favorite thing to do in this half pipe, and probably, honestly, by far one of my harder tricks as well. As anyone in the booth that snowboards, switchback methods in the pipe are pretty challenging, and I'm still trying to figure them out, honestly.
Scotty, T-Bird here, real quick question for you. What can we look forward to from you on finals day?
Well, I know where you are right now, T-Bird, so if I tell you, I'm going to have to come down there and, and finish you. I'm sorry, but I'm really looking forward to Saturday. I mean, it's going to be an amazing event. Weather's looking really good, and, you know, the half pipe's in amazing condition, so you can expect me to bring everything that I've got, because I know that's what it's going to take to be crowned the champion. So.
Hey, Scotty, this is Tina. When you started riding half pipe, what size of the half pipe did you start in?
First one was in Australia, and it probably was about 13 feet. They were all hand dug, so yeah, I would say there's a lot of similarities between this top section in this course to my first pipe experience.
How lucky were you that you got your first run in the sunshine, sir?
Yes, I was actually looking up at the sky, somewhat hoping that the clouds would hold off a little bit longer, and they did. So I was glad I got a run in the sun, and yeah, the flat light was pretty terrible on this last run. You saw it a bit in slopestyle yesterday, so I kind of thought I would chill on this one.
Scotty, I got to throw one out there. Is Pecky in Vail right now?
Yes, Quentin Peck is here.
Okay.
It is true. The rumors are true. We figured out a few interns for him. Obviously, as you guys would know, he's absolutely flat out busy. And I told Stan earlier on, still hasn't locked anything good in for me. So I'm having him a part of this team at the moment, just out of you know, good faith and to him. So, but he is around. Look out for him, QP. Probably trying to poach some other snowboarders.
You guys are legendary and necessary on all sides. Take care, get some rest. We look forward to seeing you, sir. Red gloves, big dance in the final on Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
all right, Scotty, right on.
There he is again.
Wow. You gotta love it.
Yeah, it's a return of the king, right? He you know, lost the last event he was in. He was on a run 11 or 12 in a row, and there's no question that Scotty James, we haven't seen dominance in the half pipe from a rider like Scotty James since Shaun White.
And look at, you know, Pat Burgener, Jan Scherrer, Yuto, how in those final runs, in these conditions, these riders were able to step up to the plate and get into the final.
Can we talk about Joey Okesson?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, my man. 7th place.
Welcome to the show, literally. And then Chase Blackwell getting in there as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's unbelievable. U.S. Open historically kind of been a contest where we actually see a lot of these riders almost kickstart their career, and not a. This is an example of just that we're seeing.
There aren't many pro snowboarders, household name pro snowboarders in the world today that haven't come through the U.S. Open at some point. I mean, think about the fact that Travis Rice is a U.S. Open champion.
Yeah.
He won the Rail Jam in 2004. You know, it's seen all walks, all disciplines, all types of snowboarders, you know, flow through here.
It is a rite of passage. And, of course, this 2020 Burton US Open, we are celebrating snowboarding, and we're celebrating the life of Jake Burton, whose spirit, when we look back at those earlier years, and the fact that they were just putting together with nothing other than, like, we love snowboarding, let's figure out a way for snowboarders to have an event, and that it's grown to this. You know, we're still mourning the loss, but this event is about the celebration of his life, and his life lives on forever, and that we have now, there's going to be an official day of in memoriam forever March 13th, this Ride for Jake Day.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. I've seen the push on social media, and it's Jake is more than a brand. He's the most influential snowboarder of all time, and you can see it on social media. Other brands, other resorts. It's a global community pushing this out because that's what Jake would have wanted, right? He would have wanted a non-partisan day of snowboarding for people to just go enjoy what we love to do.
Yeah, and if you want to learn more, if you want to register, check out adayforjake.com. You'll see all the mountains that are participating. Snowboarders are going to get to go and ride for free of charge. These mountains are participating so that we can honor and celebrate, you know, the man who arguably had the greatest influence in this lifestyle and culture. Thank y'all for hanging out with us on an incredible day 2. Plenty more action tomorrow. Women's slopestyle finals. That's going to be a full-on battle. See if Zoe Sanat will be able to successfully defend. I was watching some of women's practice today. They were going nuts.
Yeah.
All right, that is a wrap. We'll see you again at Slopestyle Finals tomorrow for the women. And here are some highlights from day 2 at the Burton US Open Snowboarding Championships.